day. Let me off the bench, I know I can play. Been through it all, but I just wanna ball and silence everybody that got something to say. Feel like a legend today. Let me off the bench, I know I can play. Been through it all, but I just wanna ball and silence everybody that got something to say. I feel like the man, I've been in demand. Never let the opposition get the upper hand. Grand slam, from here up to Japan. It's not my fault that I'm the greatest in the land. No emotion, I just go get it. I don't talk about it, baby, I just go live it. And I'm a dog better than y'all, I'm off the leash. See, I'm a winner, that's what it is, get it, capiche? Feel like a legend today. Let me off the bench, I know I can play. Been through it all, but I just wanna ball and silence everybody that got something to say. Feel like a legend today. Let me off the bench, I know I can play. Been through it all, but I just wanna ball and silence everybody that got something to say. I done been through the fire, I ain't ducking no smoke. Thorough with it, I'm not the one that you should provoke. I mean, I'm great, homie, way better than good. Whether that's the field, the course, or the hardwood. I got a different type of pedigree. To keep it real, I think I'm something you can never be. Being second place, that's probably your legacy. The back of my jersey is all I'm gonna let them see. For real. Feel like a legend today. Let me off the bench, I know I can play. Been through it all, but I just wanna ball and silence everybody that got something to say. Feel like a legend today. Let me off the bench, I know I can play. Been through it all, but I just wanna ball and silence everybody that got something to say.
When the victory's on the line, you can't. If I want it, you know it's mine, don't try to. I'm eating that crunch time, you'll never. You can't. You can't. When the victory's on the line, you can't. If I want it, you know it's mine, don't try to. I'm eating that crunch time, you'll never. You can't. You can't.
Now find ourselves here in the Big Easy for the first massive, big, colossal LAN of the season, which brings the Triple H's, the heat, the hype, and huge changes. Welcome everyone to the ALGS New Orleans Open.
Relax, you guys, we're going a million miles an hour.
To play themselves. It's got a feud with one, maybe. I don't know, we see the swing from Timmy as NRG look for money. It's 1-150 to close it out here with the Craver. Timmy put on someone to show here in game number 5. Timmy.
After 3 days of clutch revives, calculated rotates, and heart-pounding aggro, only the fiercest remain. This is not just a lobby, this is the ALGS New Orleans Open Grand Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Championship Sunday. And now, it's time to welcome our stunning and magnificent ALGS New Orleans Open 3-tier trophy. The trophy will be presented by the awesome, graceful, Vicky, Kitty, and Lace. The trophy is comprised of 3 columns that, once assembled, complete this fantastic memento. Situational awareness, split-second decisions, and pinpoint aim separate champions from the fallen. With only 20 teams left from the 140 plus that started here on day 1, it's all to play for. Will we see magpie compilations of frags from a top team, or will an underdog team rise to the occasion and steal the show? Apex family, it's time to introduce the 20 teams for the grand finals. It's time to introduce Green Stego. Next up, it's 9 Lives Esports. Give it up for Team Envy! They've come out of nowhere, they're doing the thing. It's the Twerkaholics! Next up, it's Virtus Pro! All right, give it up for GHS Boom! Advancing to the stage, it's VK Gaming! Next up, Rival Esports! And a big round of applause for Team Alliance. Next up, it's Team Furia. Give it up for Team Bubble. Next up, it's Shopify Rebellion! Next up, it's Alcazia! Next up, it's the Twisted Minds! Next team, it's time for S8! All right, guys, give it up. Big round of applause for 100 Thieves! Next up, it's Team Falcons. guys, I want you to raise the roof. Lift the top of this building because it's time for NRG! Last but not least, it's Team CAD! This is it, people. Legends, it's time. The drops are prepped. The teams are locked in, and the P2020s are fully loaded. And to kick things off, it's time to hand it back to the masterful Apex Sages on the desk as we get this one started for Championship Sunday.
Ryan Hartsama, thank you so much, my friend, the man who can do it all with the microphone here as we get the stage set for Championship Sunday. There's not a better Sunday in all of esports. I'm so excited to be here, guys. This is one of those moments where you kind of just got to soak it up, take it in. The crowd has been alive and well. We've seen players, you know, they've missed a few steps. They've gotten like so excited to get to their booths that sometimes they didn't even wait for their cues to walk in. The fans have been, the NRG was out of there before we even said anything, but you know, that's kind of the fun of what this championship brings. There's nerves, and there is so much more to play. My name is Rain Day, guys. Let's introduce you to the panel who's going to be joining us for Sunday, and also we'll see some new faces in here as well. We've got Glitter Explosion, we got Jamerson, we've got Dia. Guys, Lauren, you know, I always kind of lean this question to you. I mean, there is just something special about Sundays in Apex Legends. I'm certain that this is going to be no different once it's all said and done.
100%. And the energy starts hours before we even get to that opening ceremony. I mean, the fans are showing up. There are meet and greets happening. We literally got to see, I think you might have seen it on stream too, people sprinting in to try and get into the front row so they could see everything as it was happening here today. I mean, this many teams, the energy is just that much better.
I mean, it's one of those things, guys. We just saw him come out, Jamerson. If you look at the teams in this lobby and we take a kind of even just an eagle's eye view on the participating teams, there's so many stories to talk about. It's hard to pick one.
Yeah, we started the week with over 140 teams, and somehow, over the course of 3 days, we whittled it down to our final 20, but all of these names are such familiar names for match point finals across all the regions. The only thing I would say is that we have almost a lack of representation from EMEA.
Yeah.
Of course, the Americas region showing up big with 100 Thieves, and with all of our other squads, but
yeah.
I love the fact that we're getting so much APAC South representation this time around.
And the other thing too, Dia, is just as much about all the teams that we didn't expect to be here, like Twerkaholics, maybe the biggest name coming in from the Challenger circuit, not in Pro League, but yet making a finals lobby. Those stories have taken over the Open as well.
And it's been really nice to see those, especially because it's the first time with the ALGS Open that we're getting to experience stories like this on land. Twerkaholics, like you said, really jumping out ahead of the crowd. I'd throw Cat in here as well as being a big surprise team for me, especially with how dominantly they were able to go through the lobbies and actually make it to Championship Sunday.
You guys all brought up great points here, but let's see what they're all playing for as well, because when we get to Sunday, it doesn't just mean that you have a chance to hoist that trophy, or at least all three of you will be able to hoist a separate part of that trophy. Beautiful design, by the way, Respawn and Apex Legends for that. But look at the money at the top. Lauren, $300,000 to our winner. Life-changing money out of this $1 million prize pool.
Absolutely. You might think, you know, just because it's an air quote open, there might be something a little bit less here at the prize pool. Absolutely not. $1 million on the line for every single Apex Legends land, okay? I mean, $300,000. We watch how not only does the money change the lives of these players, but it's that recognition too, the status that comes along with it. Like you're talking about the trophy, like it is all of the glory wrapped up in one that everyone is really striving for.
And the beautiful thing is when you say open, you look at that cash, I'm saying open tab, okay?
Yeah, right.
Come on, man, whoever wins this, I need to know where you're eating later because I'm getting involved. All right, you know, guys, it's always fun. Let's talk about these teams. I would say which one of you wants to start, but because I'm the host, I get to start.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
just going to start talking about teams that I care about. The first one, it's NRG. I feel like this team didn't get their proper, highlight in the crowd, but that you could hear them murmuring, getting excited even when the name is mentioned. This squad to me is special because, again, I think this is a team of amazing players, yet also in many ways have not fit in with squads prior, even to the coach Hodzic, where he was trying to find a new home up until this Open, and you could see where he's now found a spot. Gilderson's was in that same journey, trying to find a new place to work, had played with Timmy before, and then you end up seeing Yanya, who takes the risk of leaving Liquid Alienware to try to get a new story written about him, which was, we're so close, we drop big games, but we can't quite finish it. This is the team now that somehow has put it all together, and for me, the biggest thing is Timmy. I think it's his leadership and his ability, whether it's Yanya and Gilderson's giving him more leeway to just trust himself and actually make decisions. And the consistency of how they're following up those decisions feels like there's nobody saying, hey, I want to do this instead. Maybe we should think about that. They're trusting each other, and they're three of the most mechanically gifted players that exist in our league. I mean, even just looking at the pop-offs there, Timmy with his Red Bull sleeve constantly, the hugs, the excitement. You can see why NRG is an exciting team to mention. And, there's also another team in here that got a big standing ovation when they were walking through, and that's, of course, 100 Thieves. I mean, this is a team that many people think out of the 4 teams here that kind of maybe lead the way in terms of championship contenders, could take it all. I was talking to Papa Jen. He came and said hi, as he does before on these Sundays, and he said, this is the best I've felt since London. Ooh. That's a real good sign, because remember, they took home that trophy. Hal came down from the heavens, and he made one of the best plays that allowed them to lift that championship. Could this be an iteration as well for kind of Verholz to get back on that mount? Jim Burton fighting his own kind of battle, very similar to Timmy and them saying, Falcons, it's not that they didn't want me, but maybe they felt they were better without me. I get a chance to prove that. And the ultimate person to prove I am hopefully better without those who thought they were better without me is Phony, because he has been in this journey of winning a split championship and then getting kicked from a team. How do you do that? There's so much of this story that is unwritten for these guys, and so much opportunity to tell a different tale, or at least swap out the endings, right? It's like a script gets put in, and just before it hits final production, you change the last few pages so to something that you wrote, and that's what I think these guys have the opportunity to do. Not only that, they put up some of the biggest games we've seen, over 109 points in some of their group stages. Not as many of these teams have been played, of their games have been played on main stage as someone else like NRG. So this is an exciting one. I don't know if it'll ultimately mean that they lift the championship, but they're certainly one of the teams that you have to keep an eye on. I will let one of you guys talk in a minute, but you're giving me great eye contact. I feel very listened to. The other person and the other team I really need to focus on here is a story I've been tracking since I first started Apex Legends in Poland. That's Twisted Minds. I mentioned Hodzic trying to find his own way after getting a new team. This is the team that he landed on, but none other than Albrelelli is the person that I think has made the biggest statement in this Open. To me, his story coming from this greatness, this start that you wanted, lifting that first Poland trophy in Krakow, and now going through this journey of almost finding himself as a player again, has ultimately ended up with this roster right here. Crook and Enemy formerly playing with each other, Crook and Alb having some history as well, and putting them together. It has somehow made magic happen. When you talk about, I see this team in top 5s all the time, this is what we're saying. Look at those winter finals. Second, third, they are in top 5s 4 out of 6 of these games. And how can you not think a team is going to be successful when they keep putting themselves in situations to make one play and win? Ultimately, in match point, that's what you have to do. And so I think this could be the Twisted Minds story today. In fact, that's kind of where I'm going with my pick. I think it would be a little bit of a Cinderella story. I'm betting on a little magic this Sunday. And of course, last but not least for me, we got a lot of teams in North America, but maybe the one that has flown the highest, or at least had the highest expectations. Wow, thanks, Zero. Thanks, Al, for not being in your chairs. What are we doing here? This is the finals. They're not even in their chairs. Maybe they're going to the bathroom getting ready, but at the end of the day, let's focus on Waltzy then. And I think the idea around Waltzy being a part of this lineup, as Al and Zero come back, is that this is that third that replaced Jin Burton, that they felt we needed to somehow change the mojo. It was the old Dark Zero that got this influx of Hal and all that he brings to the table. He's had a phenomenal tournament, probably the most statistically valuable player across this entire tournament. 121 kills, Zero right behind them. Hal and Waltzy at the bottom 10 of that as well. So these three players, you cannot doubt their stats. but what are they going to do in terms of legacy? This was supposed to be the super team, and they have been really great at not getting a championship yet. And unfortunately, that could end up being their legacy if they don't win today. The stakes are pretty high for the Falcons, so ultimately, I think these are some of the teams you've got to watch in North America.
I love it. I love it. And what I did notice, though, is that there was a theme there with a lot of the squads that you were picking, Rain, and a lot of them are those heavy hitters out of America. The teams that, honestly, anybody could make a very strong argument for taking this whole thing home at the end. I want to take it in a little bit of an opposite direction. Same region, but I want to look at the rising stars coming out of here because we've been talking about them all weekend long. I'm going to go with Twerkaholics and 9 Lives. Starting with Twerkaholics. Everyone's been talking about them. Their performances are absolutely unmatched. And we've got a tweet here from Jake Lucky. We got a free agent Apex team called Twerkaholics competing for $1 million ALGS title tomorrow. And this is why I love esports. A nice reminder that they are, in fact, a free agent team. So if there are orgs paying attention, make sure you're keeping your eyes on this squad. I mean, we've been talking about them all weekend, specifically because of their playstyle. Jamerson did a whole hot take about it. It is the type of play that we wanted to see here at the Open, this aggression. These kills are what have carried them through to the point that they are at here today, to the point where it was an entire winner's bracket run for Twerkaholics. I mean, is this what we were expecting? No, but it is phenomenal. These storylines are writing themselves, and it's what we were hoping to see talent-wise out of the Open, where we're going to start to get these rising stars, people that are going to show up and make a name for themselves. And you saw it on that kill leaderboard as well. Floating was one of those players, also up there in the kill leader race, and that's for the entire event, okay? That means that they did the winner's bracket run, they play less series, but they're still up there with the likes of Falcons who had to go through more matches. So Twerkaholics right now are such an X factor, a randomness that I think has really surprised and shocked even a lot of our stable squads because they didn't know how to handle them along the way. And they have deserved every second of recognition for what they've brought to the table. But I said rising stars out of America, that it's not just Twerkaholics, because I also want to talk about 9 Lives, another team that has kind of been a really nice surprise to follow throughout the tournament. They ended up dropping into that elimination bracket after winners round 3, so they still made it pretty far in the competition. And when that drop down did happen, it was literally by 1 point. And we see this happen all the times in ALGS competitions. That 1 point is always such a curse, but that just means that they were still in the contention for that middle ground bubble when it came to that winners round 3. They now are one of those teams that are amongst the most wins when it comes to Broken Moon and Storm Point. And if we're talking about individuals, another person we saw on that kill leaderboard is Cersei, even higher than where Floating was in the individual stats, 5th overall in kills for this event. I mean, they are a team that were able to just barely make it here where they want to be. And I feel like we can't be underestimating them, because we know what they can do.
I think that's the theme, too. There's a lot of teams that you expect coming into this. We did a line of a bunch of great fans and attendees coming and talking with us, and they said a lot of the same teams that they expected to win, but there's some teams in certain regions that don't have as many eyes on them, Jamerson. They need to be highlighted because they're just as big a threats, having made it all the way to Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these bigger lands, unfortunately, you know, we always have so many teams. It's hard to highlight any specific one, right? This time around, our job's even that much harder. 140 plus teams, and now we whittled down to 20, but these are teams that we do have to talk about coming out from the APAC South region. APAC South has already produced so much talent, and it continues to produce, I would say, championship caliber teams that are just right there on the cusp of making it over the edge and securing a spot in the top echelon. And one team I want to talk about is Green Stego. We've been seeing the Green Stego stocks on the rise, and by no surprise whatsoever, because of how consistent they are. Whether they go by MKers, whether they go by Iron Blood or Tom Young Kung, throughout the last year, they have been showing up to every single land, making it very close, at least in the top 25 when it comes to the end of the day. But this time around, Green Stego, with a phenomenal run throughout the winners bracket, they find themselves here, and they did it in a fantastic fashion. One thing I want to say about it is that a lot of times, teams, when they get into these lobbies, get thrown for the loop when teams try different kinds of play styles. We saw that they were in that winner's bracket with, of course, having to deal with Twerkaholics, consistently running into them. But while other teams fell to the wayside, they were able to deal with that adversity and play their own game afterwards. So they're honestly shaping up to be a stronger and stronger team every single time we see them. But on the other side of the tape, while one of our APAC South teams did extremely well of adjusting to newer playstyles, again, by Twerkaholics really coming in aggressive in this lobby, on the other side of the tape, we have to talk about VK Gaming, another team that has been extremely consistent across our lands for the last year, right? Whether it was at Split 2 in Germany, where they finished off 8th, or at Champs, where they finished 9th. This was a team that was always kind of silently successful that we didn't talk about until the final day, where we're like, huh, VK Gaming's in the top 9, top 5, wherever they are in the course of the tournament, because they are extremely good at playing out their game plan, which is we're going to utilize Valkyrie, we're going to get center zone, we're going to cut off teams and get into a very strong position. Yeah. We'll go ahead and translate that into really strong placement points and really strong consistency across it, right? If they don't end up top 7 in the lobby, something went extremely wrong, and we got to see a little bit of that yesterday when they were knocked down into the lower bracket. We saw when we started off on World's Edge, they had Cat cut them off in priority. In the first 2 games, we saw a lot of scrapping around there, but once they got their footing, we saw the green Stego that we're used to across the lands. They're able to utilize that Valk once again, get center zone positions, really be able to fight teams off and secure those top 5 finishes. They are one of the strongest teams coming out from APAC South in terms of converting a lot of those cross-map rotations that we see even here. The highest level teams really struggle when we get those cross-map pulls, but Green Stego still have that consistency across the board.
APAC South has to be looked at. All these regions bringing in some clear representation, if not as many as North America, definitely as impactful. Dia, talking about APAC, we were just in Japan a few months ago. Championships feels like a long time ago, yet it feels very recent, but that region always comes to play and always finds a way to make it a championship Sunday and represent.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this, Jamerson, while listening to you talk about APAC South, and even Glitter, well, you were talking about some of the underdog teams from North America, because APAC North has given us 2 underdog teams, but in very different ways. Normally, when we get to Championship Sunday, you'd be hearing me talk about Riddle. You'd be hearing me talk about Fnatic.
True.
Neither of those teams are here. Instead, we've got 2 teams. The first one, GHS Boom, coming out of APAC North. And this is a really exciting team, much like the other APAC North representative that I'll get to talk about in a little while, because they've never been to LAN before. And in their own region are coming out flying from the Pro League, doing extremely well. While they had some highlight performances in the early rounds, GHS Boom actually encountered a bit of trouble, dropping down to the elimination rounds during the course of the ALGS Open. And when I spoke to them, just leading into yesterday, I learned that a big part of that was in trying to take their zone style that was working very well and turn it into something a little bit more aggressive that could yield them points in the early rounds. But the really important thing for GHS is going to be taking this aggression that they've now learned to harness and pull it back again, because we just picked up a very high caliber lobby. I mean, Championship Sunday is as tough as it gets. So while GHS Boom, they know how to finish games, they know how to play through the mid game, a big question mark around this team is going to be how they balance those things, because it is a constant journey for them throughout the course of this entire ALGS Open. Now, the other APAC North team that you're likely expecting to hear me talk about, because there are only 2 of them after all, is Babo.
Babo!
They've been weirdly quiet. I mean, I know we get really excited hearing about Babo, because...
Just saying Babo, I get excited.
What's the name? Yeah. Exactly. So, they've been a really consistent team. They have not been the most exciting team. Babo, in contrast to GHS Boom, took the zone style that has been working for them in the challenger circuit and turned that into a fantastic performance in the ALGS Open. Their zone style hasn't really changed at all. They haven't pushed the aggression, and yet they managed to make it in through the winner's bracket. They're a quiet team. They don't make a lot of noise, and yet Babo have really impressed me with the fact that even while flying under the radar, they made it all the way through the winner's run and now are sitting here in what is arguably a lobby where zone play and good zone play can be rewarded the most. It's a team we never would have seen coming out of Challenger Circuit, never been at LAN before, and yet they made a finals their first time flying out to an international event. That's pretty impressive, Randa.
It's really impressive, and some of these teams you highlighted, you've been watching. The only thing that kind of went in their way was a team called Twerkaholics who would end up destroying any idea of zone play whatsoever when they showed up. And so all these plans went haywire. They're in this lobby as well. So that's just adding to the chaos of what's about to play. But speaking of two representatives, keeping track of APAC North is pretty easy. Unfortunately, for a big region, ALGS usually, keeping track of EMEA is pretty easy too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to highlight the only two EMEA teams that have now made it into our match point finals. And I want to start by pulling up a tweet here from Hackus because he talked about it, okay? Only two EMEA teams in the finals of this open LAN, which is crazy because from having the best performance of all of the regions in Japan, straight into this, which is now the worst one, that's definitely a turning of the tide, to say the least. Definitely unfortunate, but you know, Hackus notes that he still doesn't have an ALGS trophy, and he does think it is about time to acquire one. So I love that we're still getting Alliance in here, the confidence out of a team that is Alliance. And they have made a really strong winners bracket run, but we weren't seeing, and we saw this on day one when we were in our early group stage, we were seeing these insane high kill performances out of Alliance. They were going in, specifically slaying out, knowing that they were just trying to get to the next stage of the competition. As things progressed on, they slowed down a little bit when it comes to that aggression, which we were seeing consistently out of the likes of, like you mentioned, the Twerkaholics in the lobbies, and it was still working for them. One of the things that Alliance probably will struggle with is the fact that we're now at match point, and for the first time ever, we've got all four of these maps involved in match point. They are still wildly strong on our classics of World's Edge and Stormpoint, starting to struggle a little bit with the new ones at E-District and Broken Moon. So we'll see if they're maybe able to pick up their plays when it comes to those, or really work around them in the flow of maps for match point finals. So, I mean, but a squad like this, like you said, they've already got a win under their belts when it comes to a trophy, just not an ALGS one, and you know they're going to be fighting for it, especially if they can get into a groove where you have Effect slaying out. But you also mentioned them. We're talking about rising stars, and it's crazy the dichotomy that we got out of EMEA for these two teams, because you get the established squad and Alliance, and then you get Cat for the other team, who we just saw the last squad walking in on our team walkouts. This is kind of a cool story for me because this is a relatively fresh roster, Taxington, Adam, and Calamitous, and I want to talk about them a little bit here because if there's only two teams that make it through from the region, this has got to be saying something about the squad. So now they were one of those teams, we watched them last night, they came through from Elim finals and they had just barely made their way in. They were that 10th place squad, and they were 1 point above Team Orchid. So that's how close our elimination finals were. They are one of those teams that's managed to have their best map, BE District, a newer squad, better on the newer maps. Their worst one is World's Edge. And we talked about this at the very beginning of the Pro League split, when we were introducing these new maps. Are the less established squads going to really prioritize these newer maps and start to become the experts on those, knowing that we have teams with years and years of experience in the competition that already have Stormpoint and World's Edge nailed down? It seems like that's what is working for Cat right now. And of course, one little quick note, Taxington did talk to Zephyr and tell him on day one that they were absolutely making it into match point finals, and now they're here.
Wow. I mean, we have set the stage more than this is a stage, because this is a relaxed stage right here. We have set a whole second stage for you guys to understand the stakes here and the teams around. Thank you, everybody, for all that amazing analysis, and also for you guys, now you're prepped, ready to go. Who do you think is going to take this? If you're in the crowd, let us know. If you are at Twitch chat or watching on YouTube chat, let us know as well, because we obviously come to play with our ideas. So far, our talent predictions have been pretty one-sided, I will say, in favor of, you know, me right here, which has been
that's messed up.
It's been rare. It's been, you know, I'm taking it as it comes, but we've all set up for ours here for this one. I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to show you what they look like in a second, but I know you guys have all got your ideas on who you're picking. I mean, let's go down the line. I mean, Lauren, who do you have today?
I went with NRG, and I know some people in the crowd are definitely going to be on board with that. Oh, you went, okay, you went the Twisted. I love it.
I went Twisted Minds. Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, NRG, I think that's 100 Thieves, guys. I get Dia. I see you going for that. A lot of people going for 100 Thieves. They were up there. Jamerson, what did you grab?
Yeah, I ended up going for, well, after my rants last night, Workaholics.
Workaholics
for my pick.
Yeah.
Seriously, wow, that would be amazing if that team could win LAN.
Honestly,
think about that life-changing situation that would
for
happen.
any team to come in from CC to make it this far, make it through the winner's bracket as well, I just kind of want to have faith in that one, and especially because their playstyle has been so much fun, being able to see them run through teams like NRG and Furia at times in the winner's bracket is absolutely absurd. So how can you not cheer for that?
Yeah, I mean, look at the representation too. Green Stego, Genome going with Apex South, Graceful with Alliance, keeping with Amia. You've got Twisted Minds with Ben as well. Wow, it's trying to, he gives up. I guess he gives up basically. He's trying to take second place. And then Falcons from competitive Apex. You guys have done a great job keeping up with us. You're beating almost every single talent member except me. So will this be the day? If Falcon, you know, we'll see, guys. It's going to be fun. Also, if you're watching, remember that you can collect Twitch drops every 30 minutes. If you watch for 2 hours today, you're not only going to get the blue napkin holo spray, you'll get all of them. So you'll get the Red Zone Pathfinder, the Hotline Volt skin, the incoming sticker. Every 30 minutes, you're going to be getting a new Twitch drop. So if you haven't gotten them, you've been here hanging out at the venue, open up your phone, use some of the Wi-Fi, throw that laptop on, call your mom, say, Mom, just go to twitch.tv/playapex and just leave it there. That would be amazing because you guys will have these very special things to remember this moment by. The ALGS Open has been a unique format that has put us into a position to have history be made. There are teams that aren't even in Pro League playing for their share of $1 million right now, and there are teams that have created the almost narrative of Apex Legends esports for years, having a chance to prove whether they're going to continue creating that narrative or maybe if their time is up. All of that on the line here on Championship Sunday, and it's time to get it going. So there's none other than two of my favorite guys and favorite casters to kick off the action and get the energy hype in the building. Let me hear a crowd for your two go-to guys. It's Onset and Gasket.
Too kind. Thank you very much, New Orleans. We're going to need that energy as these games start to drip by, but what an occasion this is. We all know how special a Sunday feels here, and this one in New Orleans, even when we arrived at the venue, queues around the building, everybody's cheering, everyone's smiling, and they haven't even got inside yet, but now we're here. Match Point Finals has arrived, Dan.
And the best part, we have LAN champions on the stage, 10 of them to be precise, and then we also have about half the lobby who've never really got to this position before, may have never got to this position before if it wasn't for the ALGS Open.
Well, let's look at the map rotation. We'll explain how this is going to work today. It's going to be a challenge in our Match Point Finals. We are starting match number 1 on Broken Moon. Then we change over to Storm Point, then to World's Edge, then to E District, and then we reverse that order. So we'll go back to E District, then to World's Edge, then if needed, Storm Point and Broken Moon, and etc, etc, etc.
And then it keeps going.
Keeps going back and forth.
Then you go to Broken Moon again, and it all repeats. So basically, the only time we'll ever see one map played twice in a row will be E District and Broken Moon. And of course, it gets very interesting when you get to the kind of 7, 8, the more average placement where things finish, usually in a Match Point Finals.
Well, let's look at the draft here for Broken Moon. This is where the results of the elimination bracket and the winners bracket were so important. This is what Broken Moon will look like.
And this is so interesting to see because the first time we've had 4 maps in Match Point Finals that meant if you were in that top 10, you were guaranteed at least one good POI on one of these maps. And you can see our top 2 teams, Twisted Mind and NRG, both prioritized Broken Moon here. So we have to focus on NRG for this one. They could put down some maybe big points in match number 1.
So many amazing stories, so many players who are looking just to end those stories on a high today. But as you can see, every single team and player is ready to get the action underway here. New Orleans, it's time for our Match Point Finals, match number 1. Broken Moon is where we start it all.
There's no Sunday like a Match Point Finals Sunday, and as I've already alluded to, NRG certainly the team to watch when it comes to Broken Moon, not just because of their drop position, but they have the best average points on this map throughout the entire tournament as well.
they average about 11.7 points per map. So if they're dropping something like that, they'll certainly put themselves close to match point already.
Well, one team who would have rested very well last night after the insane elimination bracket run that they went on is Team Falcons. Waltzy, Zero, and Hal, of course, dropping down very, very early by their own standards, but they made the miracle run. They are here in our match point finals, and they will be a threat when it comes to who picks that championship up.
Worth noting that Falcons have actually had a lot of success on Broken Moon as well. There was questions, would Storm Point be where all of their points were coming from? But no, they said actually Broken Moon we're going to find success by just sheer amount of kills and aggression. But this is where we're going to be heading up towards the core, and we've had a couple of core finishes already this tournament. It gets very busy up here on the north.
Certainly does. What a zone that is for Twisted Minds, and it's a good zone that they managed to almost convert yesterday as well when we did see a very similar zone. And speaking to a lot of people who were coming through this morning, a lot of people backing Twisted Minds today. A lot of Twisted Minds fans who want to see the likes of Albrele have that little comeback, get back on top and lift that championship. So it's a fantastic start for them, getting that zone here on Broken Moon.
You can see Envy were moving very fast from Spaceport. They had a ring console, and they're arguably going to get one of the strongest buildings on that northwest side as well. So Envy and Twisted Minds, two of the favorites maybe already, purely based off a priority position. As we check in with 9 Lives, who actually, you heard the desk talking about it, Broken Moon has been very kind to them as well. They've been able to find 2 victories so far, and maybe they could go for another one. It's a big fight.
The Twerkaholics though! And Vayne is left on his own, and the Twerkaholics have 2 down. Vayne is going to have to escape, and if you wondered today how the Twerkaholics are going to be playing in the match point finals, well, it's going to be exactly the same as how they got here.
And Broken Moon important for Twerkaholics because they've been incredible on E-District, incredible on World's Edge, but lacking a little bit on Broken Moon and Storm Point. And now Vayne sadly will fall to his death as 9 Lives, the first team to be eliminated in match 1. And you mentioned it, Twerkaholics, they carry on just as they intended previously.
Those Twerkaholics keeping those hips loose overnight. They're still looking good as we jump on board with ALGS. This is just outside of the zone at the moment. Looking to move their way in. They do have ring console information on where they need to move to. And again, you heard everybody on the desk talking about how impressive that they have been. Strafing Flame obviously leading the line as the IGL for this team. ALGS trapped inside of this building at the moment, and we're seeing that also a third party potentially arriving here. VP. Have a little look.
Yeah, very dangerous area for ALGS because this is one of the prime rotating positions as you go through Quarantine Zone, as you try and skirt around not to get caught in the typical choke on the north. As we check in with NRG, a little bit of fire they're taking at the moment. Only white armors as well.
Yeah, well, so it's about 5 or 6 teams in and around this western side of where this zone is going to be going. And that's why you're seeing it be so chock-a-block with everyone trying to get through a couple of these chokes. Fury going to have to use the Void Nexus and get Keon rezzing, knocked as well on the altar. They will be able to do so. So their first attempt at a rotation doesn't work too well. It was actually Cat who were holding them down in Quarantine Zone. So they've still got some traveling to do here before they get to where that zone is going to be pulling.
Speaking of Cat, Catalyst is the most picked legend alongside Newcastle. So depending on who wins this game, it's going to be either Catalyst or Newcastle banned for match 2, which again, we haven't really spoken about it, but legend bans in a match point finals is not something we've ever seen before. If we get to match 9, match 10, match 11, think of how many legends will be gone at that time.
Makes it even more interesting that we're switching maps every single map as well.
Yep.
Like every single game we are switching maps. That makes the compositions even more difficult to judge. Going to be a lot of fun to watch this match point finals today. As we jump on board with Fury, who did get that reset that we saw a few moments ago, and now try and continue their path here to Quarantine Zone. Looks like they might be trying to hit a survey beacon, as now we have some action going down. It's going to be Dexter from Green Stego who gets the knock on the Guild.
Yeah, Green Stego have the advantage at the moment, and they're going to push and get aggressive, but Yanyo was waiting! Yanyo was ready! Oh, but it misses!
NRG are eliminated. Green Stego will be still with 2 on their feet. Should be able to get the reset here, but no, maybe not. It looks like there's another team who are trying to move in here. It's ALGS, who we saw a little bit further away from this position a few moments ago, but now they're trying desperately to see if they can capitalize on the opportunity to take down these Green Stego players. They find one! Strafing Flame with some fantastic shots coming out from the Nemesis.
Will Green Stego rue the day that they pushed onto NRG, because now it's just opened up the chance for someone else to come in and clean them up, and it's going to be ALGS. Yes, they're still alive for now, but for how long is the real question.
ALGS with 2 and managed to get the finish onto 1. Dexter trying to find a route away. You can see that they know exactly where he is. They're trying to chase it down. We'll keep an eye on our kill feed to see if it will be the end of their game. But elsewhere, you can see Babo. What an incredible story it is to see these gentlemen in our finals lobby. Greenstego have been eliminated. Dexter wasn't able to survive, so we're now down to 17 in a few seconds' time, even though Pinky is doing everything he can to survive a few seconds longer. This could be the end of Babo too.
It's just so compact, so dense here with all the teams that have found themselves up towards core. If you lose a player or two, it's going to be very difficult to escape and rat out and even find a single placement point. You can see Zainu's actually trying to find an angle here from Shopify Rebellion and will spot out Pinky. And Shopify Rebellion just saying, hey, this could be one extra point that could get us closer towards that match point threshold.
It could be one extra point, but they're obviously so nervous about giving away their position in core as well. Don't want to overextend too much. Finally, it will be Koifor with that scout who will get the knock and get the finish, and Babo will be eliminated as well. So 4 teams out the lobby already, and all these chokes that these teams are having to move through. You can see why this action is relatively quick at the start of the game here on Broken Moon, excuse me. Sorry, force a habit from me.
I mean, Broken Moon is just one of those maps that it rewards sheer aggression. You can't really afford to slow it down too often, otherwise you will be punished. But at the same time, you have to be always prepared for that third party, just as we saw earlier from NRG, one of our heavy hitters eliminated in this first match already. And again, it was just a couple of those whiffed hip-fire shots from the G7 Scout. It's never really fun when you have to whip that Scout out as backup.
Well, keep my eyes on the Twerkaholics because it's always fun to do. You can see over at Dry Gulch on the left-hand side of your screen, ALGS having picked a little bit of KP up in that battle that we saw a little bit earlier against Greenstego. Might have to keep their backs clear as well because the Twerkaholics will be looking to close in on that position. Looking at the zone though, great position here for Envy. You can see they're pretty isolated away from a lot of the traffic that is coming in through those chokes on the southern side. So Envy set up for a pretty good game here.
And remember, they were at Spaceport. They instantly moved to that building. I mentioned it right off the drop, but the question is, how healthy are they? How much loot do they have? What weapons have they got? Have they got any ammo to work with? Do they have any shields to work with? These are all the things that are hard to come by if you are the first to move to zone. And of course, where is that zone going to shift? Because it goes towards core, Envy might struggle. Now, Furia, they've lost Noct, but Madness and Keon still back-to-back, looking to see whether they can get him back up with the Void Nexus.
Yeah, we'll be able to. There's no one else really near Fury here. They're just trying to find a way towards zone. Maybe Noct was looking to move forward and get another Void Nexus down a little bit closer to zone for them to try and port 2, but it'll work this time around. They will be able to reset. Falcons taking a little bit more of a scenic route here. They're over a stasis array, crafting their way and looking to get some more Evo to approach this zone with purple armors for sure. There's going to be a tough rotate for them. They've got Alliance who are holding them out towards Cliffside if they decide to try and go that way.
It will be an interesting match point finals for Falcons as well, having that 11th seed for the pick in the POI draft, but statistically, they've actually performed better when they've had a worse POI draft position in this tournament rather than they having the #1 pick. So maybe that's something they can use to their advantage.
Well, Falcons have managed to get a little bit ahead of where Alliance's position was, as you can see on your screen here, so shouldn't be too worried. And now they're ahead of Alliance. It's a case of, do they want to try and hold them out, or do they want to try and find their way into zone? The problem is for Falcons here, they've got ahead of Alliance, but now they've got 100 Thieves and S8UL in front of them. So all of their rotates are going to be very, very difficult. Twerkaholics, safe for the next zone. No one really near them, but getting in from this position going to be tough.
Yeah, look, they're safe for the next zone, but they're thinking about moving south because they're trying to work out where would teams be that are still rotating late, and they're assuming it would be from this southern side. I mean, bad news for them is they are actually the latest to the zone, but maybe they can come across Fury, who are currently holding that choke, as now we're going to see a push here from GHS Boom.
Mad Maggie, first pick. Love that. Carter from Empire trying to hold the line. Yari Man's going to go down, and now GHS Boom, evening up the numbers momentarily, becomes a 1v2 on the side of Riley. Riley Mechanic trying to do what he can. Oh my, he clutches here for Empire. Big moment for them.
Worth noting, Empire, the only team in the lobby who have not won a match so far this entire tournament, but it could come soon if they play that way. Interestingly, Empire actually were one of the best Broken Moon teams throughout the tournament as well, consistently putting up points, and you can see why. A great fighting squad.
It's always good to keep in mind that, you know, as we have a pause coming in, I know everybody, I know, bear with us.
Don't worry, it'll be back.
It's a pause, not a stop. We'll be back, don't worry. Something to mention about Empire, though, it's funny, isn't it? You mentioned they haven't won a game yet.
Yeah.
now we're match point finals.
Imagine.
Doesn't really matter. Just win one game now. Just win one game throughout a tournament and you become the champions here. But I am very interested in the way that these games have started, especially some of the teams who have played a certain way to get to this position. I love the fact that Twerkaholics still turn up here. Championship Sunday, match point finals, first time that they would have made it here. Nobody expected them to make it here, and they're sticking with the same game plan. They are looking to take that early fight. They are looking to put KP on the board. They want to rush towards match point, and the way that they're doing it, it just throws everyone off, it feels, in the lobby.
And we're just replacing a controller on stage, one of the players having an issue with it, so that's why there is the pause, and we'll just make sure they are sorted before we get back into the game. And just a reminder for anyone who's new to watching Apex Legends, of course, there are many fans watching around the world, may have never experienced match point finals before.
It's a Nessie Totem.
It is a very easy way to approach these finals. You just have to wear as many hats as you can, and then
you just qualify for the finals. It's crazy, really, how the rules have changed.
It's going to be first to 50 points, gets you onto match point, and then you have to win one match after that, and that's how you will achieve a victory here at this LAN.
We see the 100 Thieves Ultras, they're out there, Envy fans as well, and for all the talk of the Falcons run, you've got to remember that Envy did something very, very similar yesterday. You saw the embrace between both Falcons and Envy. I think they were just happy for each other that they'd managed to make it through that elimination bracket and, of course, into our finals. But 100T, they didn't have to worry about the elim finals. They went straight through the winner's side, straight to this finals, and you got to say they look pretty darn good doing so.
Well, I said we have 10 champions on the stage who have lifted a trophy before in ALGS history. There's 3 of them right there on your very screen. One of the favorites, for sure, to win the entire thing today. When you think about being composed under pressure, not panicking in that final circle, when you get given that opportunity to win, 100 Thieves, they ooze that confidence. And I would not be surprised if at some point in these match point finals, they get the opportunity to win this whole thing. The real question is, will they take it?
It's such a fascinating thing when we look at the match point format, because so many teams get there to 50 points. They get the opportunity, but when it arises, it feels so different. It feels from how they normally would play one of those end games. You see the nerves, you feel the pressure, and they aren't able to convert on that opportunity. But for now, looks like we're moments away from the match being back on pause, and our first match here continue on Broken Moon. So let's raise that noise a little bit more here, New Orleans. Let's get these players ready to get back into this game, and let's see who's going to take this game number 1.
Gunshots, panic, everyone make sure you remember where you are on the map, and okay, we're all right, no one's died, everything's fine, but the Twerkaholics are going to be pushing in on Furia. This is what I was saying about the southern side of this zone. Furia are currently holding it, and Twerkaholics, they have to really have a consideration here. Do we go all the way round to the eastern side of the map? But remember, Alliance currently reside there.
They do, but our Alliance going to expect this, because this is a, by very definition, extremely late decision and rotate from them. Alliance very good at watching their backs, but they're going to be tested here. Twerkaholics are going to take the long route. They're going to make sure that they try and force this fight, but if it doesn't work for Twerkaholics, that could be the end of this game.
They're going to take a lot of damage to the zone here if Alliance catch wind of it. Oh, Alliance have just left. That is a godsend for the Twerkaholics. They can push through Cliffside, they can arrive on the east, and they will and should be safe. Maybe 100 Thieves will catch wind of it and pop a few shots that way, but it's a risky rotate from Twerkaholics, but it looks like it's going to work out for now. But even further than that, when you look past where they go, it is like a gauntlet that they have to get through. The teams you have to surpass to get into core.
Well, one thing they could do there is hit the man scan and check, essentially, in zone if there's anyone holding them out. But for now, we're jumping on board with Alliance, the team who just moved from the position that was potentially holding out Twerkaholics. And they're checking their backs here. Unlucky feels that maybe something's not quite right.
By the way, the Twerkaholics are still in zone, and they're heading even further northeast. This is quite the rotation from them. By the way, the zone is pulling northwest as well, but we're checking with Falcons and see whether they can just avoid this gunfire right now.
Shopify Rebellion versus Falcons. Void Passage is going to let Hal get away for a few seconds here. But Waltzy's not going to be so lucky because he runs into Zainu, who has a Peacekeeper. Hal's going to have to use the Motherload and look for this reset here, but Falcons trying to force their way into zone, have taken some casualties.
Should be okay. Alliance have now spotted Empire, and behind them, the Twerkaholics are starting to arrive, by the way. If this fight lingers too long, the Twerkaholics might just join in.
I think they will have to. And floating doesn't need to be asked twice. This man is always ready to engage. Takes a little bit of damage on the cross here, but on the Wraith, we'll be able to take a few seconds just to pop that battery. If he needs to, he can jump into the void to survive. Empire trying to hold down this position. That is towards the backside of zone.
I mean, Empire have already held once, and they've been able to force Alliance to the other side, and I think they noticed the Twerkaholics there as well. So they're more than prepared. They back off slightly. They are not over-engaging here. But you know the Twerkaholics are looking to fight. Now the zone is starting to force a couple of other teams into the equation now.
Cat have to leave. VP are alongside them as well. Only blue armor to work with. They do get the cat wall down to move in towards core from their southern side, but they've got Furia, they've got Falcons, they've got VP surrounding them. The cat wall will be good enough to block off the fight that's going down to their right. They could be able to rotate here without taking too much damage. But as I say that, Waltzy will manage to turn one. And even though there's two members still alive here inside of the building from Falcons, this becomes a 2v2. But so many teams getting influential in this fight. Waltzy will find another one.
Falcons are fighting two teams at once here and somehow still staying on top of it. Twerkaholics will be eliminated in the end. Empire have got the better of them. Cat are down to one. Furia are eliminated, and everything's popping off here on Broken Moon.
13 squads remaining. Taxiton the last alive here for Cat. You saw Zero as the last alive momentarily for Falcons as well. 100 Thieves start to tiptoe a little bit closer to the central structure of core here. But they have a long way to go and only 40 seconds to do it. Empire have been eliminated. Alliance in the feed, pick up some KP.
Alliance, another squad that have tasted land victory in international competition before, of course, at EWC last year. As Falcons respawn, Waltzy and Imperial How. Is anyone there to maybe contest this dropship? But it looks like they're going to be okay, but they will have to move shortly. That zone's about to close in 15 seconds.
Also, the team they're going to have to potentially go through is 100 Thieves towards the core. Shopify Rebellion are just in front of them, but they've just rotated themselves. The good news here for the respawning players is they have some death boxes to play with, so they will be able to get at least a little bit of inventory to make these fights a little bit more comfortable. There is 100 Thieves. Now we watch through the POV of Verhulst on the Newcastle in this game number one with a G7 scout in his hand.
Just dropping the purple for the gold armor as well. Utilize those shield cells as best as you can. And I think 100 Thieves are ready to potentially take a fight. There was a Void Nexus that was potentially going to be used as well, but now Falcons start to make their way a little bit further north here.
One of the difficult things here for Falcons is Hal and Waltzy having just been respawned. They're not going to have the ultimates available to make this rotation any easier. Instead, it's going to be Zero who has the Void Nexus available, but at this point, it's going to be tough to even have an influence with that. It's going to have to be a straight fight. Rival Esports have been eliminated, and Waltzy alongside Hal output a huge amount of damage onto VP here.
It's bait and switch, it's one after the other, and then the third comes in. Zero just waiting for Waltzy to shield up, and then now he'll tag in as well. But Twisted Minds are watching over this. Falcons have to be careful.
SAUL are gone. Verse Pro have been eliminated, and somehow Falcons are still alive in this situation, and they come out of it off the respawn with some KP alongside it. But now the launch comes in. Enemies down. Twisted Minds deleted. Imperial Hell with the hip fire, but this could be the end here for Falcons. They will be out next.
The minds were twisted indeed by Hal, but sadly they'll fall in 7th position. But Falcons put good points on the board for match one. But that does leave things open now for 100 Thieves, Shopify Rebellion, and do not forget about Envy, who have been in that building this entire game right from the start, waiting for their moment.
Hack is popping the ult excel on the Crypto to get that EMP back. That could be a huge influence, as could shots like that from Unlucky. He's only hit heads here.
He is not missing. I mean, there wasn't much else to see apart from the head, but you still have to hit that pinpoint accuracy. Maybe Alliance looking to get aggressive onto 100 Thieves, but they see the Void Nexus is going to be used by Shopify Rebellion to go central zone.
Alliance just had to take a second there because of the fact that effect did go down momentarily. Shopify Rebellion will retreat through that portal. And Pricey from Alcazia threads the needle and manages to avoid connecting with 3 or 4 players who are locked up there.
6 squads, round 5's closing. Shopify Rebellion have just lost 2 by the looks of it. They might be soon to be ended on Broken Moon. Alliance could potentially clean them up. And this is a very patient approach from Alliance, by the way. They are not forcing themselves into the zone because they know they don't have much to work with once they get there.
Well, the catwall comes in from 100T. That's going to allow them to move a little bit closer towards the zone. But look at this prediction coming in from effect. So much damage being done. Unlucky gets the pick on a jet button as Price Dempsey starts to shatter some shields.
100 Thieves are being pressured from a lot of angles right now, but the Newcastle will save them for the time being, and it's a whiff from Pricey on the second attempt.
Strafing Flame, though, is alongside his teammate to pick up 100 Thieves, trying to force their way towards zone. It's only a duo, though. Pricey now turns his attention a little bit closer to zone. It's a 2-10! Shopify Rebellion have been eliminated in the meantime. 100 Thieves will go down next. Alliance now moving to clean up Alcazia. Alliance into the top 3.
Dropped, got dropped, but Envy will be okay. They'll be able to get him back up. Now suddenly it's VK Gaming, Envy, and Alliance, your last 3 teams. It's South, it's West, it's North, it's 3v3v3. This is Apex Legends. This is now when you look to your IGLs to say, what can we do here to try and win this game?
Well, the worrying thing here for Alliance is Effect is a little bit separate from the rest of his team, and I think he's a bit trapped behind that truck. A little bit pinned down. Envy trying to force VKG into Alliance. Trying to force them to fight where they can become the third party. Missile Swarm comes in from Zap on the Valkyrie in game number 1 here.
I mean, Alliance are the most warmed up when it comes to fights in this game. They're already on 19 points as it stands, whereas Envy and VKG have kind of been waiting for this moment, hoping to get a victory.
VKG are taking damage.
Oh, and it's going to be an absolute shred of shields, and it looks like Alliance will be able to take him down alongside Envy. Now it's just a straight 3v3.
Hackers with the Kraber in his hands put the last bullet to use just to influence how that fight went, and now in our first game here in New Orleans, in our match point finals, it's a 3v3. Alliance taking on Envy. Hackers takes the high bar, Monkey's down.
Trade 2 for 2 though, and now Hackers, maybe he can get some shields off?
2v2. Zap is down, dropped his very, very low HP. Don't think they're going to be able to get the reds here. They're going to slide in instead. Effect! He'll find 2. Sykes the last hope here for Envy. Hackers trying to survive, trying to buy the time for Effect to come and join the fight. Sykes is going to be next, but Sykes is the last alive, does what he can for Envy, but it's not enough. It's Alliance who will close out game number 1 here on Broken Moon.
There are only 2 EMEA teams in this lobby, but one of them who knows they've got what it takes to win is Alliance, and they put up a huge amount of points to kick us off here in New Orleans.
What a game from Alliance. They navigate the edge of that zone so well, and then didn't need to be asked twice. They pulled straight to the top of that building that Envy had held for so long. And then if there's one man that doesn't feel pressure in endgame situations, Effect gets the call, 2 weak inside the building, slides in, does not second guess it, gets those 2 knocks. And then the 2v1, even though Sykes gave it his all, was just too much to overcome.
I love the aggression from Alliance. Don't give Envy the time to think about how they're going to play this endgame. Also, what was important, because Effect had already used the mother load, they knew they were an ult down in that fight. So how do they take advantage of it, catch them off guard, and take them by surprise? And not only do they get a victory, they get a victory with 16 kills.
Wow.
They are already over
goodness.
halfway towards match point.
That is a monster first game coming in from Alliance. 16 kills in a match point finals lobby here on Championship Sunday. That's kind of special from the EMEA team, and it feels like they're taking the responsibility of the region on their shoulders. Next band legend will be Newcastle. No Newcastle available for quite some time. I won't say for the rest of the series because we don't know how long it's going to go. There's a good chance that Newcastle could become available again.
Yeah, you never really know with what's going to happen because, of course, with legend bans in match point, if an entire class does get banned, essentially it starts to reset, and the first banned legend in that class gets put back into action. So if that does happen, it could be exciting.
Well, match number 1 was absolutely superb. Broken Moon, though, we're going to have to say goodbye as we're going to change maps in just a few seconds' time as match number 2 is coming up in our match point finals. Alliance with a win in match number 1. Who's going to take match number 2?
The return of Area 51, Alienware's highest performance desktop yet, equipped with powerful Intel Core Ultra processors. Innovative architecture designed for ultimate gaming. Engineered to evolve alongside your game. Encounter the legendary Area 51 at Alienware.com.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Red Bull is the official energy partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Yeah, he's go, 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 go! Shotguns, come! Kill this guy, kill his fucking ass! He's sliding down! Shield! I can't! He's one of me, Huskies, please! Fuck that! One kill him! I can't body my bullets, he's just on me both, Yeah, body. Yeah, just heal. Play up now! Get side, go! Just suck his head, no? Last one! Outside! Kill it! 50. I'm stuck. I cracked him. I can heal. Yeah, I'm trying to heal. Give me knock, I'm batting. 1 HP. Yes. 1 HP below. 1 HP. Fucking kill that.
Welcome back to New Orleans, everybody, and Red Bull are bringing the energy to New Orleans with the Red Bull Gauntlet booth. They have 4 stations where you can hot drop into solo lobbies to get your score on the leaderboard for a chance to win a Sony InZone gaming gear, as well as other premium prizes. So head on over to the Red Bull Gauntlet booth, grab a can of Red Bull, and throw your hat into the ring.
I may, just after
you should.
Match point finishes, if it finishes. Who knows how long it'll take today? Do you have a number that you're kind of thinking of today with
I don't do that.
Where we're going?
Have you noticed I'm never on the predictions? It's for good reason.
I think that
I'd ruin it for everyone.
A little bit cheeky that you're not on the predictions, if I do say so myself, but there was a time when you used to be a curse. Anyway, match 2 is upon us, and it does mean we are moving away from Broken Moon, and we are now moving into Storm Point, which of course changes everything here, because we're going to have an entirely different set of teams that not only are good at this map, but they've prioritized it in the POI draft.
Yeah, like you say, there's going to be different drop spots, there's going to be different zones, different legends, compositions. All of this stuff is just going to make this probably the most fascinating match point finals that we've ever had in the ALGS. Just so many variables that you have to think about as a team, a coach, a player, whatever it is, as a fan. Even like, what composition is my team playing? Where are they going to be dropping? We got you up to date. Don't worry, we'll keep you informed of everything that's going to be going down. But, I mean, game number 1, Alliance, we need to take a second to talk about that, because what a run that was. 16 kills alongside the placement points. It's the perfect start for a match point finals.
And Alliance coming from Atmos Station as well on Broken Moon. That is not an easy rotation by all means. For a while, remember, they were trapped on the eastern side, and we thought they were going to have a fight with the 2 Workaholics, but then they just slowly walked their way in. And you know what they didn't do? They didn't take unnecessary fights. Notice how they noticed Empire were there, and they said, actually, we're just going to surpass them and play for position. Empire went on to kill the 2 Workaholics. A very intelligent play from Alliance. As you just saw, Storm Point is going to be map 2, and there's confirmation Newcastle will be banned. Not just for match 2, but for the entirety of match point finals, unless the entire support class gets banned, which it probably won't. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Just a good probably once again. We never know at this point. But as we head towards match number 2, it's going to be, like you say, Newcastle ban. We now move to Storm Point, and I like the fact that we start on Broken Moon and Storm Point, 2 of the historically faster, more aggressive maps for these teams to play on, where those KPs start to really start to kind of flow, and you don't see those big POIs with a lot of buildings in, where we have more of a kind of stacked end zone. So this is the POI draft. What are you taking away from this one, Dan?
Green Stego got Lightning Rod. They picked it 7th. Again, this is what I was alluding to earlier. If you finished in that top 10 from winner's bracket, you're guaranteed at least 1 good pick. And we'll have to see how they move forward with it as well. I'm not sure those names are quite adding up to who is on the map, but we'll get that sorted out a little bit later. Anyway, certainly teams here to look out for. Going to be the likes of Green Stego, Babo down at Pylon as well, VK Gaming at Sito Station, and GHS Boom at Cenote Cave.
You see, a lot of POIs, I would say, that are not first picks for a lot of these teams, and that's another thing to take into consideration, even from things like scrims and drafts where players are getting used to playing from certain POIs. There's a little bit of familiarity a lot of time with 2 or 3 different POIs, maybe even a few more, but some of these feel a little bit uncomfortable for our teams that we have in the lobby. One team that has got to keep their head on a swivel, though, is Alliance, because if you look towards the northern side of Stormpoint here, Alliance have taken Trident. Usually, that's a sign to the rest of the lobby that we want Northpad as well, and if you come here, we're going to fight you. Well, guess who's landed over at Northpad?
The Twerkaholics, baby. They'll be twerking their way over towards Alliance, I'm sure, and looking for a fight. But really, if you're smart, do you want to take a fight against the team that is currently leading? Just put 28 points on the board and is already over halfway towards match point? Usually, someone normal would probably say no. The Twerkaholics, however, you never know what to expect with these boys.
Yeah, like, let's show you something different. Anyway, let's talk about zone. Let's talk about where we are going. Going down towards the south of Stormpoint here. It's going to be probably Hillside, I would say. It's an interesting one, actually, to call. This kind of zone you look at and you're like, maybe we play for third beacon info, because this could go either side of that mountain range.
Yeah, it could be closer towards Furia rather than on the Pylon side. But certainly 9 Lives, Furia, Babo, you know, they're going to have early priority to this one, even Rival Esports moving from Jurassic, depending on who does have those ring consoles. Of course, they do get covered up a little bit by some of the player names, but just looking across at where potential fights could be happening, not only are Alliance currently walking towards Twerkaholics, we have to remember there are teams in the area that could third it if it does happen. But this is what we were alluding to, the potential fight, as the Twerkaholics have already done some damage to Alliance here.
Well, they're going to get blue armor as well. Managed to get to that Evo Harvester, which is going to give them a real opportunity here. Lunix wants blood. You can see that. He's chasing them down. He's got it 2 times on that charge rifle. And if you haven't got blue armor on Alliance, it's a scary, scary weapon to feel firing over your shoulders. You try and retreat.
I mean, this is amazing to see Twerkaholics continuing to play this way, continuing to be aggressive against a team that has just dropped 28 points. They are so confident in their engagements. They do get an armor check, though, and notice that Alliance are up to blue as well. I think that one player, probably Hackers, was able to go away and get an Evo Harvester there. But Alliance are not one to be shying away from a fight either, may I add.
I mean, just look at this effect, by the way. He has the sling weapon. We'll go back to that in just a few seconds' time as Rival Esports inside of this building, a Pylon. They've got a fight on their hands as well. It's 9 lines on the other side.
Rivals losing a couple. Got to put that R99 to good use. 9 Lives are struggling a little bit. The armor should be enough to take Rivals through this. And Rivals will eliminate 9 Lives. And in the kill feed, Twerkaholics have just been eliminated by Alliance. So they'll win that 3v3.
Rival Esports trying to escape. They're not going to be able to either. And that's one of those fights you look at, it's like, who really came out on top of that one? It was maybe a little bit early to be fighting in that situation, especially this side of Pylon, where a lot of teams are going to be rotating through, and being that aggressive, if it stalls out, you know where the zone is going. There's going to be teams there to third, so that's one that maybe a few of the teams involved in that might look back on and go, wasn't the smartest decision.
ALGS and Babo currently squaring up against each other at the moment. Pricey's taken a lot, but of course, is a potential for a Void Nexus just to get away. And it looks like that's going to be the play to avoid Babo, and they will hold their ground. Just to touch on that fight once more, off screen between Alliance and Twerkaholics. What an important one for Alliance. If you think about as match point finals go along, if we get back to Stormpoint later, they would have already had that one up over the Twerkaholics now and maybe can scare them away.
And also, you look at Legend composition, Legend bans, the fact that Effect was playing Ballistic and found himself a Rampage, uses the sling weapon, he's going to be able to decimate more than one player, and I think that might have actually been a difference maker as we unfortunately didn't quite catch it, but for Alliance, now they can chill. They got the Trident, they can loot, they got 3 more KP, and now they're on 31 points. So remember the cutoff, or should I say, to become match point eligible is just 50.
That was going to be my question. How early can Alliance hit match point here? Because that early fight gives them the confidence now and the freedom to rotate. It is a long journey, but they have the Trident. You've won the fight, you've got the reward of the Trident, and now you can skirt all the way around the western side if you'd like to try and get to the southern side of this map. There is a reality where Alliance are on match point after 2 games here.
JHS Boom are hearing a Trident. but not seeing a Trident. And because of that, they're going to move towards Jurassic and try and rotate a little bit themselves. NRG going to really frustrate someone who might try and find a Void Nexus to go back to, because that's going to be destroyed here by Guild. But they're in a pretty good spot, actually playing the eastern side of Pylon. Oh, excuse me, the western side of Pylon. They're kind of holding out those teams who are going to try and rotate through. Yanyu will fall. As NRG get focused, they should, and I say should, be able to get back and get it back on its feet, but instead there's just so many bullets flying in that Guild goes down as well.
Everyone is having a pop. And now Timmy's the last remaining player, is going to have to try and work out how on earth they keep them in the game. Remember, it was an early exit from NRG in match 1 as well. You do not want to fall too far behind in match point finals. It is a back and forth dance between the Void Passage, but sadly, NRG eliminated, and it will be Lord of the Rings getting the job done.
Falcons versus Shopify Rebellion. Former teammates, former champions.
Many a LAN champion in this fight.
Over to Fury though. This is outside the north side of Barometer on the Nut building. And it's Empire who are having to use that EMP to try and get that opening damage. They're trying to kind of, I don't know if they want to rotate here or if they want to just shut off one of the angles, but this seems fairly isolated at the moment.
I mean, a lot of utility used there by Empire. I think it was just trying to reset and take a breath. Remember, they were involved in taking down NRG. So they probably just wanted a moment to have
Fury
a good think about what they wanted to do, and Furious say, you know, we don't need to be taking this one, and as you mentioned, will be out of there. Now, Shopify Rebellion, we speak about LAN champions. There's a couple on this team, and of course, MT, not a LAN champion yet, but one of the best IGLs around.
Waltzy yet to pick up that LAN championship himself. Take a look at our map overhead then. He is going to be pulling towards Pylon even more. The question is it going to be the Babbo position where it pulls towards those triangle buildings? Or is it going to go down towards the 100 Thieves side?
Yeah. It's one of those, isn't it? You've gambled on,
fingers crossed,
north or south building, and it could be the difference maker, not just in this game, but if you think about match point finals as a whole, how much that could affect your chances of being eligible if you can have a big win here on Storm Point. You can see SAUL were thinking about transitioning out of Jurassic Park, but they got forced back by 100 Thieves. I think that's very important for 100T. They need to make sure they bully anyone who tries to go through their Jurassic gate.
Twisted Mind's in a great position. That's one of the buildings I was talking about, those little triangular tent buildings that can be so good towards the end game. So many zones do actually pull right outside of where that building is. And they will be, like I say, crossing their fingers and anything else that will cross that the zone pulls towards them.
Cat just trying to spot out any players that might be arriving at Pylon and joining them just below them. But there's plenty of space to play within Pylon, but the zone unlikely to pull actually onto that POI, of course. So it is a risky position to try and hold, and maybe just a desperate last attempt to do so. As Team Falcons, Storm Point is usually their bread and butter. They've got 3 wins on it throughout this tournament, but of course they did play extra games through the elimination bracket that some in the winners did not. But it's actually 100 Thieves and NRG who are the highest point scorers on this map, and of course NRG already eliminated. Broken Moon and Storm Point, the best maps for NRG, and they're already out of both.
Well, I tell you what, I was about to say, I'm not sure the Green Stego were watching their back, and then just at the right time, they turn around. Zero almost gets clipped. Managed to keep himself alive, and now Falcons have got some decisions to make because it's only 5 seconds until this zone starts to close, and it's going to be the evac. Falcons fans, hold your breath.
Up into the sky, adjust your radar and make sure you can find a pinpoint position to work with. It looks like they're going to skirt around the eastern side actually and maybe transition to the southern part of this pylon, and I guess it works for now, but I think this position is just an assessing position, right? Get somewhere that's safe, and then you move in once you've been able to spot something else out.
The difficulty for them is how do they rotate from here, right? You look at the composition again that they're playing. They don't have a Newcastle, that's been banned, so they can't hold down this position. They don't have Catalyst to try and rotate. It's going to have to be maybe a Void Nexus play from Zero to try and get them into zone if it does shift. Elsewhere, Alliance already got some KP, they're looking for more.
Remember, it's Empire on the other side of it, and Empire have held well, and the Dark Veil will come down defensively. They're only a 2, though, so Alliance are trying to hunt them down.
Yeah, and once again, its effect. who is going to be the difference maker with that Rampage. However, Effect has gone down because SAUL are looking at this one from a little bit of distance, so they close that gap, and now all of a sudden it's up to Hackett. Going to hit the Void Nexus, try and get away, but they're not going to be able to. Alliance, the winners of game number 1, have to watch from the sidelines here in game number 2.
That's very important for the rest of the lobby. You don't allow Alliance to go too far ahead of things here. They are on 33 points, still brilliant after 2 matches. But it means that they won't be getting to match point eligibility just yet.
SAUL, by the way, just remember how well they played yesterday. Falcons inside of the building, Green Stego in front of them. Imperial Howl will deal with 1, but it's up to Zero and Walty now to try and clutch this situation. They've tried to force their way into this building. Zero using the Void Passage to try and create some creative angles. And now, having started a little bit of a scuffle inside, they might have the time here to get their res onto Howl, and yes, indeed they do.
Yeah, as soon as they started that fight, Cat then arrived and started to look at it as well.
EMP from Walty, that's going to slow things down once again, and this fight has started to turn in their favor now, Falcons. Do they want to swing on this one to get the finish? Yes, they do indeed. Empire have been eliminated in the meantime. Zero will go down, and now it's all up to Howl. Howl will win it. And Green Stego have been eliminated, but now the third party arrives.
Yeah, and he's sadly just on Fuse, doesn't have the ability to escape. But he does get the shield swap,
and he has the knockdown shield to play around here, and Howl is still trying to make it work, but Falcons will finally fall.
Still good points on the board for Falcons. They're up to 16. It's not a terrible start after 2 matches for them. They're currently residing in 2nd place, but of course there is going to be big points available for someone in this final zone. 100 Thieves are still holding the northern side. You can see right on the corner of your screen there in that building. But the zone is actually going to move closer towards Pylon. A little bit unexpected for some of these squads, and I imagine it's just going to finish on the edges of it.
Well, again, 100 Thieves in a very good spot. They can play the height of their platform. They will just about be in on the edge of that building as well, but they've got to hold out the likes of SAUL, who still have players alive. They have GHS Boom on that side of the map. They have VK Gaming, but down on the southern side is what we're looking at right now, where VP are going to have to work uphill, and they've got Alcadzia to their left, and a little team called Shopify Rebellion to their right.
100 Thieves take down Sharky. They move away from their building just to ensure that they don't allow that one player to escape.
The big thing here, Sharky, I think, was trying to get a Void Nexus down for them to pour into, so that now makes it very difficult for the 2 remaining members of SAUL to get into zone.
I think he did get it down, but 100 Thieves deleted it very quickly off of Storm Point and said, we don't fancy allowing you to have that rotation. And now SAUL have to move all the way through Jurassic Park and through GHS Boom. And we know that GHS Boom have been very good at fighting.
12 squads remaining then, 8 teams already out of this lobby. And we mentioned how Fury are going to have to move uphill alongside Alcadzia and Virtus Pro. Shopify Rebellion still the team trying to hold them out, and you can see the fences are down. It's going to be such a tough rotate. You get the feeling there's only going to be one winner from this position. And Furia know they only have 20 seconds to make this move. Alcadzia have got them surrounded right now.
It's going to be 2 separate 3v3s. Alcadzia versus Furia as SR are taking on Virtus Pro. Noct does damage but will fall.
Love this angle being taken by Pricey as well. They also have the Void Nexus down if they want to retreat here. Pricey wants to finish this himself though. VP eliminated on the other side of this hill in this fight, and Player K for Alcadzia will be able to take down the final members of Furia.
Shopify Rebellion also won their engagement. Now Babo are having a look at them. GHS are also fighting VKG elsewhere as GHS Boom have got that initial knock, and now they're looking to apply some Boom with the grenades.
Rampage sling weapon here on the ballistic is going to be the difference maker once again. So much damage output. That's now 100T with a PK in the hands of Phony. Look for blood.
This is an insane amount of fights happening in this round as well, by the way. There's just not much playable space and a lot of chokes you've got to push through. VKG, a slither of health, they'll be eliminated in 10th position. And again, 100 Thieves, they move from the north, they control Jurassic Park. That's been their aim right from the very start.
VK Gaming gone, like you say, just not afraid to overextend. They don't want to let anyone within the vicinity of the building they're holding down. They recognize how much value it is. As now we go back to the south, Shopify Rebellion. Inside of the building! An assaulting Babo, that's going to be a big knock for them. They're playing for a game-winning position here.
Shopify Rebellion have the building to work with, and they are assaulting Babo at the moment, but Alcadzia are going to join in as well. Straight into the other building, trying to get angles.
Pricey going to queue through the wall. Babo inside, Pricey, oh my goodness, this man's nemesis is hitting so different. 15 bullets to play with. now has to turn his attention towards Shopify Rebellion, who have seen this fight go down, and now they're trying to rotate.
100 Thieves doing the same thing, holding out GHS Boom, and when you hold out, you need to be communicating at your very best. So let's jump into a listening and see how 100 Thieves are thinking.
Come back, Evan. Manager. On us. On you, Evan. Wait. Yeah. On you, Evan. Swing in, Evan. I'm holding him inside, I'm good. Back to him, 31. Two right. Swing in left. Yep. Left as well. Wait on us, I'm in here. Go behind him, back. Go back. Move. Tell me. I'm down, that's all you. Take them. Press on him. Back another. Back all you. Take your feet, maybe. Just right. Wait, you're trolling, bro.
100 Thieves can't hold one more time, and it's GHS Boom who take out 100 Thieves and now control this side of zone. But ALGS probably seen this going down, they're trying to wrap it.
They are moving fast through those void passages as well, but they're also being shot by another squad behind. I think Twisted Minds were having a look at them, and GHS Boom should have been able to reset, will reset here, but do they know ALGS are going to be playing out to their south? That's the real question, but a great push from GHS. Again, you feel for 100 Thieves after they held 1, 2, 3 teams, but couldn't hold the fourth.
You can see where this zone is going to be pulling as well. Envy in a fantastic position for the second time in 2 games.
Yep.
SAUL did manage to, by the way, even though it felt like it was almost impossible for them to rotate after what happened with them and 100 Thieves and Sharky going down, they get the reset, and now they are in a pretty good position as well. Shopify Rebellion have to go a long way here. They're the team that's on your screen, and they are the furthest away from where this zone is going to be pulling.
Yeah, they could wrap all the way round west, just as ALGS did if they would like to, because you've got a little bit of cover from Pylon to work with that one. You can, of course, scout out via MT and the Crypto first, just to try and assess the situation, and that looks to be what Shopify Rebellion are going to do. They're just skirting on the western side, trying to avoid gunfire, because then they can control the south of this next zone.
15 seconds till that zone starts to close here. Envy know that the neighbors are going to get a little bit closer as that clock starts to progress, starts to dwindle down. Twisted Minds are trying to make their play with the Void Nexus. Remember, Twisted Minds had early on, I think, banked on this pulling down to the south side of Pylon and had to adjust their game plan accordingly to get into a position to fight for this endgame.
Yeah, the P2020s are locked and loaded because this is about to pop off because there's about 5 teams all in the same area. SAUL, the first to move out onto the east, and this rampage could tear through teams.
Well, it's tearing through some shields right now. The door will be reinforced by the Catalyst, but there's a Knuckle Cluster that's just going to blow it back open. SAUL want to try and take this fight. The P20s now come out. No knocks as yet. But finally, it's going to come in, but it's going to be Zainu from Shopify Rebellion. Who's going to be the player who's getting involved?
Envy have lost 2. Envy now just trying to play the survival game, maybe for a couple of extra placement points. But SAUL, as Cat now drop on top of them, and SAUL have to go inside the building.
Envy have been eliminated. Cat, who are holding down the majority of this game from that high ground, will now transfer to the low ground. On the other side of zone, GHS Boom completely control it. ALGS now inside of this building. Strafing Flame, dodging, ducking, diving, weaving towards Zainu. Can't quite get in with the final shots from that Evoid though.
I mean, good job if you can keep up with this with all the Void passages dropping down. Shopify Rebellion eliminated in 5th. Void Nexus now used by ALGS. Can you actually get away with this though? GHS Boom say no. They deny the Void passage. They divide the Void Nexus and they say, let's get back up.
And now they can use this low ground and the PK they found on the floor to maybe think about closing out an endgame inside of this building once again. ALGS will be eliminated. We're into our top 3, but they might be next now. It's Twisted Minds. Albrelele comes in with that havoc. They clean up the downs. One more player left alive, I believe, on the side of Cat, and it's a 3v3 elsewhere between Twisted Minds and GHS Boom.
So GHS Boom will hold the outside of this building, and of course that single solo player, Taxington on Cat, will influence how this circle is going to go as well, unless Twisted Minds can quickly take him out before their fight. Otherwise, depending on what Taxington does, could really change who's going to win this game.
I mean, the head glitches here that Twisted Minds have would make it very that GHS Boom potentially have, could make it very difficult for Twisted Minds to break this, but they do have a little bit of height to play with, and they do have a certain man whose name is Albrelele. He has that havoc in his hands, and he can change this fight.
Worth noting, GHS do have a ballistic though, very good for these endgame fights, just for the pure advantage you get out of everything in ballistics kit. Especially those whistlers can really hit hard.
Al's just trying to find where this solo is at the moment. He's going to check inside, see if he can find that free KP. Taxington's still being a nuisance. Little reload comes in. And now he finds him, he abducts him through the box. It's 100 damage. Alp wants the KP. Alp will almost get the KP, but it's a void passage away. Cat will be eliminated, and GHS, they're the ones who get the kill.
Oh, they're surrounding them as well, and they'll use the Ash Portal to take another angle over him here.
Enemy inside of this building, though. It's been a little bit of a nuisance, but look at this. Larry Man, he'll come through the catwalk with the PK and the P20s. And it will be GHS Boom who win your match number 2 here in our match point finals.
How many booms for GHS? I think that's at least 6 from me, but Twisted Minds will put up big points as well. Sadly, they had to focus so much on Cat there and Taxington just to ensure that he didn't really change the game, but sadly by focusing on him, he kind of did. But GHS Boom, a team that have been fighting so well throughout this tournament, a team that would not have had the chance to be on the main stage if this wasn't an ALGS Open, have just won a game on LAN here on the main stage.
And not only that, they got 9 kills alongside it as well, and the way they managed that end game was so impressive. I love the fact that when they got the damage, they pull immediately. They try and turn damage into kills. They don't play scared. They see the advantage, and they turn it into a win. I think that's the difference that we're seeing in these lobbies at the moment. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of nerves from these open teams. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of nerves in these end games. Game number 1, think about how quickly Alliance pointed to the top of that roof. And game number 2, GHS do exactly the same thing. These are your match 2 results. It's 21 points on the board for GHS Boom.
And I think what's important is that Alliance weren't able to back up their first victory with a big amount of points. 5 is still good for that consistent amount to get towards 50, but it means that the chasing pack were able to catch up, and Alliance are now not as far ahead, and certainly didn't reach match point. But ALGS will now be halfway there as well on 26 points, and GHS Boom with the 21 points also find themselves well on their way towards match point.
Here's some of the stats from your top 3 of match number 2. GHS Boom on top, 9 kills alongside the points for that number 1 spot. Twisted Minds didn't come out of that game with many kills, actually, just the 1 for Albrelele in that situation. You can see why he was so desperate to try and clean up Taxington just to get that extra point on the board. And in 3rd place, you can see Cat. Good kills along the board, all shared between 3 players, 2 apiece.
2 apiece, but these are how the series results are looking after 2. Alliance on 33, ALGS 26, GHS Boom on 21, Shopify Rebellion and Falcons follow it up. So a few teams now getting close to the halfway point after 2 matches. And I will say, I think Albrelele may have got that kill if it wasn't an Alter. Well, he doesn't have to worry about Alter anymore because Alter's going to be banned going through to the next couple of matches.
Alter is gone. It's time for us to jump to another break, though, as we change maps once again. Match point finals will continue in just a few moments' time. It's GHS Boom who get the win in game number 2.
I'm getting looked up, down with these big frowns. They already thrown by the size of me.
Nobody do it better than me, not incredibly. I do this competitively, uneditably. Falling silent when I walk up in the building. Worry about their future like I'm here to snatch their children. That line was brilliant. It's about to get critical. This moment is pivotal. Get up, beat the streets, they say my influence umbilical. We gon' make it grimy. They gon' get behind me. Told you I'm the best. I done said it with my chest, so for real, nobody try me.
I already feel that it's size on me. I'm getting hooked up, down with these big frowns. They already thrown by the size of me. Two frowns, but my do stuff. I will not live in the apology.
Going to catch your breath for a second. Look at your neighbor and check in. We bout to march, so if you not get to stepping. I done told you who I am, bitch, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I think just be mad because my voice is so decadent. I'm setting the precedent, no mistakes and no accident. We ignoring the standard set cause our lowest is passionate. This alone is a classic hit. I'm a verb amongst adjectives. If the industry full of then my words is a laxative. It's just go time, it's showtime. I ain't calming down until this place is a ghost town. Tired of the fake and fucking bringing back no town. No staring this go round. I'm taking no prisoners, so prepare for a showdown.
Alienware, the official PC of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Sony InZone's 27-inch M10S gaming monitor is tournament ready. Co-developed with Fnatic, it boosts a 480 Hz refresh rate with up to 0.03 millisecond response time, allowing you to quickly spot and track enemy movements. Combine that with 4mm small footprint base, and you've got a monitor that is as ready for competition at home as it is on the ALGS stage. For those of you guys who came here in New Orleans, we had 2 people win one. That is what this LAN is all about. That is what you like to see when you're sitting on the crowd here in the ALGS Open.
We had Albraleli spot out some enemy movement at the end of that game, Vicky, but he got a little greedy with it, looking for that rat in Taxington. He sends it, and as soon as he does, wow, that was GHS Boom. They identified the situation perfectly, come in with the catwall, and it's all over for them. Congrats to GHS for the win in Game 2.
You know what I love seeing? I love match point finals because you don't get stuff like this anywhere else. Love seeing our squads already come out of the gate swinging. Alliance with a dominating first game performance. GHS, as you mentioned, reevaluating what they had to do to be able to get that dub.
Yeah, and Alcazia also had 2 solid performances in a row. That's why they're up the top of the standings in between those 2 winners. As you can see, Alliance, a 16-kill game. They are the type of team who knows how to show up on Sunday at LAN finals. They've done it before. Will they do it again here in New Orleans?
Time to see. Because aside from implementing these legend bans, you won't... Okay, well, sorry. Unfortunately, no Bloodhound, Ballistic, you know. They're not the ones that are out of this roster out here. It's actually Newcastle and Alter. But that's what I want to highlight because we are moving on to World's Edge. Something about Match Point Finals that I absolutely love is implementing these new maps into our map rotation. Of course, we've seen E-District, Broken Moon, but now going back at home where some of our teams may feel more comfortable.
And you got to remember, this is a 4-map draft. And what I do like about this, Vicky, is it actually levels out the playing field a little bit, right? So if you came into this with, 20th place in the draft, it means you can actually get 1 or 2 priority picks across the different maps. Of course, if you're coming in on that bottom 10, it means there might only be slim pickings. Seeing Falcons run out of survey camp, that's not something we've seen from a while. And also, notably, not something that they've had a lot of practice on, right? They've been doing well in scrims. They run the POI draft in scrims, and therefore, they've been running it from power positions. Who knows how much practice, how much, how well-timed their loot routes are on some of these lesser-known POIs.
Huge point here as we get started on World's Edge, match number 3. And once again, to reiterate, it is Alter and Newcastle who are banned for this game. We've seen interesting plays with the Alter on World's Edge, but that won't be on the table here for game number 3. As we take a look at our squad that just won game number 2, GHS. and seeing where the zone's going to be pulling next too, right? You highlighted Falcons before, Genome, landing over by Survey Camp. They have that ring console that's right there as well, so they'll be able to split that loop before deciding how they want to play this, playing more so by the edge. And when they get that information, because they also do have a Survey Beacon too, aside from the ring console, they'll see that they are right there by the edge of that next zone pool.
Interesting circle. Some of the ones we've seen near the Geyser chokes, it doesn't seem to have enough of a southerly pull to be like that. Potential to be on the lip below Epicenter, maybe even towards Monument itself. That would certainly help out NRG, who have got that and Fragment to themselves here on World's Edge. Alliance, of course, they've gone for Skyhook West. It's always been an early pick in the POI drafts, but it hasn't worked out for everyone. We've seen some teams, even with the abundance of Skyhook zones that have been coming up, haven't done so well. Babo, a couple of very nice opening shots here. This Arc Star finds its mark. It could be full send time. Oh, just a little bit of damage there onto the shields. They get the crack, but I think they would have needed a knock here to start sending Shopify Rebellion. They've certainly been put on notice, though.
With the majority is Lobby running Ashe, 11 picks on Ashe, you know that you have the potential to try to reset. The Ashe Rats, as I like to see it. Something that Babo could take advantage of looking at Shopify, but both of these teams are actually just moving away from each other. It was honestly the fight for information, since Staging has that Survey Beacon and Ring Console. Babo are going to back away. Twerkaholics are going to start making an appearance as they rotate away from Thermal Station. And this is a team that also did not have a Ring Console. They had, like, I believe it was a double Survey Beacon that Thermal Station has, and the Evo Harvester, so they're going to be wrapping around as we take a look at other teams.
Oh my god.
Look how many squads are already flying right through Fragment.
Yeah, they've got some air traffic controllers over here. We got so many people coming in at the same time. Hope they wouldn't, I don't know, crash into each other and cause a fight early on. We'd hate to see that, wouldn't we?
Would be a shame. Christmas coming early here for some entertainment for game number 3. 100 Thieves have been able to find some space, but they can hear other teams within the vicinity, S8UL, that have been able to find some space over to the right side. Bit of an Evo difference, though, if you're looking at S8 and trying to secure a place here early. Could be risky considering that they still have those white Evo shields, so they may want to go for some poke pressure.
Early position, if you get scouted out, right? If someone just lands a shot on you and notices that you have white armor, you could absolutely be at risk. That's it. Without the altar, it is a little hard to push into the buildings. Potential, if you've got the crypto, they might want to pop an EFP on you and then walk in. And of course, with S8 running the Watson, that would delete their defenses and leave the door wide open. But thankfully, their APAC South friends, Al-Qadir, do not run the crypto here. There was quite a lot of them in the last map, Vicky, but we've actually had a reduction. It's gone down from 10 to 8, I believe.
That's interesting. Considering what you were mentioning before with the crypto EMPs, playing a hand into it. Now Katsuya moving all the way up on top of the high ground of this building. They know that they can't go in through VKG's building, whereas on the other side of Landslide, you have Twerkaholics. Looking at Babo, they've been trailing behind them since they were following them after coming out of Thermal Station. Babo were coming out of Mirage Trois when we saw them disengage away from Staging. It's been so interesting to follow Twerkaholic's story.
I think it's been the #1 story of the tournament, if I'm being honest.
Uh-oh. Wait. We've seen this quite before, but you can't really get too overzealous with the cryptos that are in this lobby, trying to scout ahead to see if their pathing is safe. No sneaky plays here as Alliance playing with confidence.
Yeah, is that why JHS moved back there? Was it the drone from Alliance that spotted them out?
Yes, it was Hockey's drone. They just destroyed it right now. So they already know that they're right there. So GHS understanding that because they were holding Grandma's house where there's a beacon. 9 lies, losing out McLovin, Cersei. Trying to get in. Oh, his teammate's blocking it. He's got to scatter over to the other side.
It's the other drone. One of the lesser used abilities of the drone is to open and shut doors. And they're actually just memeing him, blocking him in and out. And it was almost enough. It was almost enough to get him killed.
He glanced a little bit there. I think we all did seeing that. 9 lives are going to be able to get the res. Safe for now, but a lot of open angles in this building. kind of get a little nervous when I have to play off of here, because then you have teams that can shoot at you from the train tracks, you have another team from right behind you, of course the Ash Tethers on top of it, but I'm not expecting any of these teams to really fully send it just yet unless they want to commit to an Ash portal, because there's so many squads already in this next zone coexisting with one another in these buildings. You could expect a lot of these squads to be living up to like round 4 or so until that next zone collides.
And doors are less safe than ever, Vicky. I mean, you've got 7 ballistics in the lobby. Almost every single one of those will be angling to find a rampage and put it in the sling. And if you didn't know, when you pull that out, when you pull the ultimate rampage out, it will be fully charged, right? And that means it breaks down doors immediately. So it's a good way to push in, potentially as an alternative to the crypto EMP.
Also, a way to try to cut off the rotation for the teams that are running the Catalyst, who will be forced to use the cat wall. Trying to cut them off on the other side, as again, you can see where this zone is going to be pulling right in the middle between Monument and Fragment East.
It's right over the top of both of them, and you can see that teams don't really have an idea. There's about half in each side of, you know, what once was Capital City, and they're kind of split on which side the zone will be pulling, and therefore where they should be playing for priority or potentially KP. You have to wait one more zone, I think, to get this one. I think even the best IGLs will be struggling to call this circle, even if they grab a late ring console.
And that's what Empire has done. Actually, they sent one member to go all the way outside the zone over to Overlook to get that ring console information. They don't want to risk it in a zone like this, where they know he could pull towards the south side of Epi on top of these buildings. Because again, a late rotation like this, everyone's going to be shooting at you from the safety of their own buildings here. So you try to find your way around this, because if it does continuously pull over to the west side, you know that there's little to no cover once you're forced to get pulled outside the streamer building.
But if we think a little further afield, we're watching Twerkaholics potentially try and rat landslide. There's not many teams around, though. It's not like there's a Void Nexus there that they can camp. GHS Boom might be going that way towards the middle of the map, but there's plenty of other chokes that they can choose as well, to be honest. Virtus Pro making that choice for themselves right now. Alliance, they're a little bit more keen on getting into the fight here. That's Empire on the southern side of them.
Oh, they're taking their time now. Unlucky gets the knock onto Riley. We also saw, I believe, an NRG in the feeds also getting a knock onto Strafing Flame. Alliance close in the gap. Empire forced to drop down from high ground. I really like this position too for Alliance, because they also have the information on where that next zone pool is going to be, and they want to be on the pathing that's less traveled by, less resistance for the squads that may be looking at them. Ooh, what? Off the stick here too, the Arcstars, nice control over the space. It was off the tether rather, looking at GHS.
Yeah, I mean, we said there were other options for GHS here, but they seem to just want to go straight through Twerkaholics. They try and get the EMP off, but Floating, he's too good with it. He snipes the drone before it can even happen.
Oh, but Omnilic's going down first, and Floating getting beamed. Twerkaholics get eliminated in 19. GHS have a little bit of time to reset, with Babo not trying to go in for the third party.
They won that with 75 less shields, by the way. That was triple blues versus triple purple, and if there is one man, one single man, who you would trust to clutch that out, it's Yulari Man. He has been dominating this tournament for GHS Boom, and an absolute revelation.
A highlight here. Coming out on top, getting some KP. That's what's crucial in a match point finals. Having to try to obtain those 50 points first so you could feel a little comfortable. VP, get eliminated in your feed. I did see that Yanya had gotten that initial knock onto Zach Mazer. Furia also contributing to this. NRG in one of those buildings safely.
Yeah, looks like that was a pretty YOLO send into the zone there, but so many teams already occupying the buildings that VP just cannot find a home, cannot find a place to go, and other teams are going to struggle with that too, Vicky. GHS Boom, sure, they won the fight, but they're going to be on the outskirts of Monument.
Oh, NRG, Timmy. Oh, when you come a little short, but it's fine. Doesn't get punished for this. He manages to get back safely to the rest of his squad.
Yeah, I think he wanted to go to the building, but sometimes you just get caught on those street lights and he only gets halfway. But Timmy fans, breathe a sigh of relief.
Oh, trying to get a little desperate here, taking over this bottom floor, but even with the Thermites, even taking on that extra pressure, they knew that it was not a good idea. They're forced to back away. Energy also having him in their line of sight too. VKG successfully hold off ALGS. 17 squads still left. The calm before the storm, and wait until these teams see where that next zone's pulling.
Exactly. It's going towards the park. You know, if you've played the mixtape modes, there's the crane around the train station. That'll be in for a little while longer, but it's the park with the bins to the north of that train station where this zone will be ending. And that means, actually, there'll be a little room for teams on both sides. A little team for rooms on Fragment and some for the teams coming from Monument as well. But that's why it was so important that ALGS needed to make that push into the next building, because there's still about 2 buildings they need to push over to leapfrog into the zone. NRG's building, that's good. VK's and ALGS not so much.
GHS Boom now with the Ash Portal. Get up into the high ground inside this building for free, but it doesn't look like they have that next ring console information, since they had taken their time after winning that fight like we saw against Torcoholics exiting out of Landslide. But at least they do not get circle kept in this situation until they see where that next zone pool is going to be, and there's no ring console for them to work off of here in Monument.
Enemy in the distance.
I mean, there's plenty of drones going around, so an interesting strat could be here if teams haven't pinged the survey beacon already, the one over in Fragment East. They could have waited for this zone, wait for the pull, ping the survey beacon, and then they'll know which buildings are possible to take.
Where do you even go? I mean, at least they were able to safely barricade that door with Pinky being on the catalyst. Yanya's still getting nuts here with a 30-30. Nice little peek as ALGS for to fight here. Babo being on the low ground. Let the Mozem sting his P2020s maybe not in their hands, with Pricey getting set down. Really up to player K as he goes all the way up onto the high ground. BK Gaming knowing that they're chasing that solo. 16 squads left. It looks like he was able to get away, but player K now having to play this out as a solo.
Oh, 2 good games for them. Doesn't look like they'll be able to back it up with a third unless something very, very spicy happens. But oh my lord, the zone has pulled east, and who would it be holding out that high ground but Alliance?
What a call from Alliance, and that's why they want to be able to hold that high ground. Great call on the positioning from the IGL Hockey's Cat. Taxiton's going to be able to pop that shield, but I was worried a little bit through the windows that squad from across from them were able to take some shots. 100 Thieves now. Phony taking it slow. In the streamer building is shooting blindly through the cat wall. Takes a raid portal.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, he was pretty split from his teammates at that point. He was completely alone by himself in the streamer building while his other 2 teammates were trying to hold out S8 in the diner and also hold down home ground in the train station right now, because that's a good spot to hold. That will be in next zone.
That's what you do when you're the Wraith, right, on your team. Just trying to scout ahead, try to see what you can do. Asia slides in with the EVA 8, by the way. Gold bolt on that. Looking fantastic to allow the rest of Green Stable to just walk up, put on the pressure onto GHS, and they completely wipe out GHS Boom in a clean fashion.
A couple of the top teams are going out, but Alliance sitting pretty. 35 points. Are you smelling that? I'm sniffing a match point eligibility here from Alliance. If they convert this like they should be able to, I think 15 points is super achievable.
Smells like money here. Getting comfy. Falcons, 17 points. Now move up. Remember, they were sitting all the way on the north side. Now with the zone closing in right behind them, they're looking to engage on Energy, who have been getting some knocks in the feed, but not being able to fully commit on those knocks. With the catwalk coming up, they know the Energy are trying to swing. They try to isolate Zero, but Waltzy's holding a different angle. How now moving up, being on the cat, fully alive and healthy. You can see the EMP coming in, slowing them down slightly. That was Falcon's EMP with those 2 knocks now. See, Timmy has managed to try to get away.
But he has the push.
Blue Evo.
Yes, push before it's too late. He actually gets the knock onto Hal here. Now it's him and Waltzy.
If anyone could clutch us out, we know we've seen it time and time again. It could be Timmy. Sends out the nade. Forced to play off to the other side here. It is barricaded here too.
Waltzy got the res on Zero.
What a reset. I cannot believe this from Falcons. Zero just waiting here, seeing Timmy still playing off the low ground. He knows he's getting pinged by somebody else in the distance.
It's about to be 3v1. Timmy has waited too long. He doesn't have time. He won't be able to get to kills. He's literally just going to throw some nades and try and get away to Rat.
trying his best to get what he needs, and look how low Falcons is. He can't do anything about it. He knew with another team shooting at him in the distance, Furia now walk up, and Falcons can't even get a full reset.
Oh my god, if NRG lives longer than Falcons, they are going to be filthy about it. It's a solid third party here from Furia, but Waltzy, who has been demonic this tournament, can't clutch it out.
Even with that shield swap, what can you do? And it even looks like Timmy was trying to greet them. You can see the tether through the window. Timmy playing as a solo off the corner. He heard the fight that just finished from inside, but he's got to start moving now that round 5 closes in the next 5 seconds.
Well, he's already won himself an extra placement point by staying alive. Let's see how many more he can get out of that. Twisted Minds currently sitting in 4th spot at 21 points. Got a Peacekeeper. Alv is looking for the next place to play as the zone closes in here. He'll go across the lava and try and meet VK and Rival, who are currently inside the zone.
Oh, but they got the respawn right behind Timmy. He can't turn around. His priority is just staying alive with all these teams collapsing in your feet. Look how many nuts. Furia take out Twisted Minds. 7 squads left as VKG meet them back in the lobby. But currently Furia playing this out as a duo. They don't have enough here.
There's chaos as the teams try and cross the lava, but the most important fight was Alliance versus 100 Thieves. I can see Jen Burton. He's climbing in the corner right there. He's been pushed all the way back. Alliance, despite, I think, taking the first knock, have actually managed to push them back. And at this point, Alliance push closer to 40 points. Can they add 12 more?
With another knock, they absolutely could look for it. Unlucky managing to back away to the rest of Alliance, knowing that 100 Thieves are holding on to dear life before they get eliminated. Timmy, by the way, still alive as a solo.
Oh my god. Well, he had a chance there. They had a chance to take Godspot off Alliance, but they just don't win the fight.
Alliance 8 points away from sitting at match point. After 3 games alone, what a performance Alliance has put on for us. At the very beginning of our match point finals, Alliance just hold on to height, split this ambush, see Unlucky on the bottom. Still not calling out where Timmy's positioning is because they're focused on Green Stego and 9 lives.
Yeah, I mean, with 8 points, NRG is desperate for every single one of those. Zicky has to be worried about the oop timer as he's finding some spots that they can't actually sit up there and just get peppered with nades. Surely Alliance close this out. 2 of 9 lives left and Timmy.
With that Arc Star, there was not much you could do here. With Green Stego getting taken out, the way that we're seeing 9 lives hold this, Alliance not moving in.
3 points left. I think they're going to do it. I think Alliance will be on match point for match 4.
They realize that there is another team in this lobby, but looking at 9 lives, still holding up as a duo. Alliance don't want to get overzealous, but Alliance have so much KP now.
Timmy hasn't been spotted at all. He has sat completely still, completely silent this entire time. He's going to get 2nd place.
Silent but deadly, but works into the favor of NRG. Alliance had lost out on Honkies before, but now Timmy, who doesn't have a medkit, who has no syringe, Alliance with that knock, with that finishing blow, have officially hit match point with 50 points. Timmy drops down. He can't make miracles happen. And now Alliance, after 3 games, have hit match point. Make some noise for Alliance. I don't know what they ate for breakfast, Gino.
What an incredibly smart play. What a wonderful call from Hackis. What beautiful execution from his roller duo to hold out that spot against none other than 100 Thieves. I mean, the rest of the fights honestly looked like it was a walk in the park for Alliance, but that was the turning point that won them the game. Phony, his calls have been impeccable throughout the ALGS Open, and he makes the right call, but his team is the one that folds first and throws Alliance into that match point eligible status.
Alliance making me sweat a little bit. It's been only 3 games. Are you kidding me? 3 different maps, as you can see. winning game number 3 after their performance where they won on Broken Moon game number 1 with 16 KP. Now here they come waltzing in with 10 KP. And that's with them forcing that team off that high ground. I believe it was Empire originally who wanted to get the scan on that ring console. They held height on the south side of Epi before walking in and completely clearing that right side of Fragment East.
Shout out to Timmy though, 9 placement points. Let's just put this in perspective. If he died right there in that fight with Falcons, they would have got 1 placement point, 8 placement points simply for ratting.
Hard to contest when you take a look at these stats. Unlucky with 9 KP, but loving the spread out on the damage here. Off of that third match alone, 9 KP in that third match.
That's incredible. I mean, you know, Effect gets a lot of the love out of those two as being the aggro one, the one who can get the job done. But this just shows to have a championship winning roster, to have a LAN winning roster. Of course, they haven't won the championship just yet.
Just yet?
Just yet, who knows? There's plenty of this year left, Vicky, but you need everyone on your team to contribute, and that's why Alliance is sitting on 55 points. That's why their name is the only one gilded on the scoreboard right now.
I need to highlight the stakes here real quick. With Alliance being already at match point, things could change up for us as we go onto a new map, as we go onto E-District. One more.
Yes, loving it.
He says it, he feels it. Got the Alliance love for the Nessie, but just to highlight, now with teams understanding where Alliance stands, as we transition now, I believe it's E-District next.
Yep.
That's going to be something that a lot of squads are going to wonder when it comes to these rotations, knowing where Alliance lands with their POI draft. What can they do to keep this match point finals going?
It's a 3rd round pick for them on E-District. There's no altar. There's a lot of things to think about there. Why don't we hear what the desk has got to say as we go into our 4th game with Alliance on match point.
Thank you so much, Genome and Vicky Kitty. Great call on that one. And it is time for us to take a little bit of a break and break down the action. Rain Day here, joined by Glitter Explosion, Zephyr, and Graceful gracing us on the desk this time around as we get to talk about After 3, where our Championship Sunday stands. Big win from Alliance. Major news, they are on match point before we move past halftime. Lauren, that's normally not something we get to say. This is where teams are usually messing up on our expectations or over-exceeding. Well, this is a team we know can get the job done. They've come to play, and it's a scary proposition that one more win throughout the entirety of today for Alliance, and this tournament's over.
Yeah, of all teams to end up on match point already after 3 matches, if I were the rest of the lobby, I would be keeping my eyes on them, especially because when I was talking about them beforehand, saying that Broken Moon was one of the maps they were struggling on, we come out the gate and they do what they need to do right away. They clearly fixed those issues.
Yeah, and doing these maps in this way, it's different, it's new. 1, 2, 3, 4, we're not getting a lot of consistency, so the teams have to be the consistency, right? Especially with the Legend bans, that's kind of been the theme of this tournament, especially with the ALGS Open format. But let's take a look at those final circles and have our analysts break them down for us. Grace, I'm going to start with you because you picked Alliance to do well. You're feeling real good sitting in that corner.
I'm feeling really good, and even seeing this zone play out completely. They played all the way from the east side, ended up on top of the building. They've been nothing short, but really on the same page. And the point that I want to highlight the most is the absolute last part of this entirety of the montage is that they came down to a 2v1 and almost went down. Effect thirsts somebody for Hakis and says, hey, you should probably pick up that armor. He is still so disciplined at this point to where he says, I'm gonna pull an entire bat to make sure that I don't peek even an inch to give him that chance of making this a 1-2 that he could have won. And seeing this presence of mind this early into the final is crazy, because this double swing here, they're in a 2v1. Hakis gets absolutely shredded, and here he gets almost down, just holds crouch and says, I'm just gonna bat. Hey, I got a thirst for you. No, I'm gonna bat to make sure we can win this. As Effect goes down, Hakis committed to that bat, drops down and cleans up the zone. Phenomenal gameplay, and this was the first game.
Thought Envy was going to have a little bit more. They do show some presence. Alcatsia as well. Twisted Minds, game 2, we'd see a lot more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a topic of heated discussion in the green room while we were watching these final circle moments.
Yeah.
based off of some positioning and then the choices going alongside those positioning. This was a big fight right there for GHS Boom, able to clear out a heavy hitter in the lobby. But as the zone continued to shrink down and all of these teams were fighting on the pylon side of things, you saw GHS Boom on the outside watching all of this go down. We did have ALGS underneath them, like you were saying, and Graceful kept saying that they had Godspot. All they had to do was hold it, and they end up leaving it, going to fight on the pylon side, coming back wounded, which is when GHS Boom have the opportunity to just drop down, take them out, and take the position from them, and then it ends up in the final fight between Twisted Minds and GHS Boom. But you had that Rat Taxington on Cat that kind of baited Albrelli out of position just enough for GHS Boom to really move in, start changing up their position a little bit, and absolutely decimate Twisted Minds.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, at the end here, it was a great cleanup, but ultimately GH Boom playing it well from the outside in a nice capitalization, I'll say, of ALGS in a moment where they knew they were weak. Touch on that EMP, of course. But for match 3, this is where we get a little bit of a deja vu scenario. Fragment can always be one of those stacked zones, especially with these major exits out from the buildings early in zone 3 into 4. And then with this highlight, of course, towards that crane there, there's not a lot of playable space. Alliance had done such a great job clearing out this eastern side, notably against 100 Thieves, who we do not showcase in this particular highlight. Once they completely capitalized them, they were in the driver's seat. I love the utilization of the Ash Court to get up to high ground and to completely deny any kind of reset or alternative positioning, especially around this fence line where you can get a little bit of safety to cross that difference. They don't allow it, come in, capitalize, send 9 lives home, and Timmy, you gotta give credit where it's due. After some poor survivability out towards Fragment, did manage to rat this one all the way to the end here and at least finish with a second place.
It's gonna be tough for Timmy to pull that rabbit out of the hat. Yeah, their coach, long-time player, was on a iteration of one of these teams over in Poland, now coaching his way to a potential match point finals. This is a little bit of a breakdown of how well we've seen Unlucky dominate. Someone had mentioned that Effect usually is in that role, but maybe what's happening is this team is just finding where they mesh best, and it's letting Unlucky be that guy. And Effect doing a traditionally amazing job in that secondary position while Hawkeyes controls the narrative of where they go. 15 assists, that's a really, really good share of all of the action going on there. Again, Alliance doing incredibly well, already on match point. NRG starting to wake up. ALGS, Envy, Twisted Minds getting into final zones quite often, but not able to really capitalize. And GHS Boom showing a little bit of support for, obviously, our APAC side. Will that continue? However, right now, we realize that you are watching, whether you're in the venue or at home or at a different time zone, whether you're tired, whether it's morning or night, you're doing it because you love Apex Legends. Because we're all community here, we're all family. In fact, when you get to come to these lands, there's a special opportunity to see the family that is involved in making this community so special. Lace is standing by with 2 very special members.
Thank you so much, Rain. This is literally my favorite part of the event, is getting in the crowd and seeing exactly how everybody is feeling. Now, I have probably one of the biggest Phony fans sitting right next to me, or standing, I should say. This is Phony's sister, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us. Now, I'm clearly not going to ask what team you're going for, but you know what? You and how many other people of the family are here?
There's 6 of us here today. At home, there's 9. Well, 4 more, but it's 9 of us in total.
Yeah, that could almost fill a whole entire stadium. Now, obviously, you're the sister of Phony. Is there any, like, sibling rivalries you could fill us in growing up?
Yeah, we kind of fight on who's taller than the other, and I'm actually the taller one, so, but he doesn't want to believe it, but that's what we fight about.
You hear that, Phony? Okay, grow up. No, thank you so much for chatting to us. And of course, go sit down, cheer on 100 Thieves. I'm sure Papa Jen is going to start a chant very soon, but appreciate you for that. Now, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to the family members of the crowd and, of course, the talent. I have Vicky, Kitty's mum, standing next to me. Now, this is your first event that you have ever attended. Is it what you expected?
It is more than I expected. It's wonderful.
It gets a little bit crazy in here, most definitely. Now, when Vicky told you that she wanted to pursue a career in esports, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I always knew that she was wonderful with the speaking and very passionate. I was never one to 100% love video games, I must admit, but she is truly passionate about it, and she's always been very talkative and very outgoing. So she absolutely is in the right field, and I'm extremely proud of her.
It made sense. Well, she's actually watching us right now. Is there something you'd like to say to her? I want you to stare nice into the camera and let us know.
Well, I know she was a little nervous for me to come out here and watch her, but I am extremely proud of her, and I always knew that she would excel at this. So I'm very happy to be here, and it makes me very happy to be here because I know she absolutely loves this. So I'm, 100% backing her up.
And we love you too, Vicky.
Oh.
Back over to you. How you feel about that?
I didn't expect to be this such, honestly. It's great. I'm so happy that we are in an ecosystem where there's so much support from the families of our players, rather. My mom being here, it's an honor to be able to do this in front of you, Mom, in front of my family. I'm so happy you guys are here. And I'm so happy we get to deliver the best experience here in the ALGS Open.
Crowd's getting into it today.
Come on.
It's easily the most full the arena has been in the ALGS Open. Just take some time.
Oh,
take
I didn't know. I didn't know we were on.
yourself.
I didn't know we were on camera.
Sneaky cut back there. You know what we can both be happy about, though, Vicky?
Yeah.
Going back to the first part of the interview, is that we're both taller than our siblings.
You know what?
Isn't that a fun time?
That is actually true, and I can't say that very often. So you know what? I'll take that dub. I'll take that dub for now. But you know who else is running away with the dub at the moment? Can they hold it? It's Alliance.
Kind of seems like they can. I'm not going to lie. They have just looked so fresh in every single game so far. I mean, damn, putting so many points on the board. We've only had 3 matches so far. Like, what even? I don't know. That might be the earliest match point eligibility we've ever had at LAN. Usually, you're hitting it somewhere around maybe like Game 5, maybe Game 6. We did have that close call with NRG, I think it was, a little while back where Optic saved the day, but...
Oh, yes. That was, I believe, Sweden. Man, you just threw me back right there. You know what happened in a situation like that, which you may not see it here because of the different rules that we've implemented into the ALGS. In a situation like that, I believe NRG were one of the few teams rocking a Loba. It was a final zone pool close to Sniper Tower on the other side of Trials on World's Edge. And that was the indicator that a lot of teams had noted, hey, this team's at match point. They're one of the few teams running a composition like this. Well, guess what? The only real indicator that you have on what squad is what really, with the legend bans and a lot of different compositions coming into play, is where these POIs are. As I also want to give a special shout out because what I love the most about E-District are the hidden Easter eggs. So shout out to Tyler on the Respawn team, seeing his dog Murphy and his beautiful mother with her note on the fridge. And it's beautiful moments like this, Gino, that we get to really highlight how involved our Respawn dev team is when it comes to putting their heart and soul onto a map like E-District.
Sometimes it's hard to take a moment and look around when you're, you're looting at 100 miles an hour. But yeah, it is incredible how much work actually goes into creating each and every one of our maps that we've got more than ever here at an ALGS LAN. And this is it. We're going to be on the final one that you'll see today, E-District for match 4. The way it works is we're snaking back and forth. So match 5 will also be E-District, and then we'll start heading back towards where we started out in Broken Moon.
Now looking at our teams that understand the situation at hand. What a gap Alliance has put themselves in between the rest of this lobby. With this zone pulling over to the north side by City Hall, it gives me a little bit of deja vu. I gotta give a special shout out to my homegirl watching at home, Spider Tiff, who whenever we get to cast together, we see very similar zones, and this is actually the third time I've seen a zone like this. 2 of the times that we've seen a zone like this together when we were on the mic, we were together looking at E-District. So City Hall, Northern Pool, as we could see here, benefits the likes of Twisted Minds, who are going to be playing objective by the Evil Harvester on their rotate. Shopify that do have a ring console over by Boardwalk. Ready, starting out the action early though. Before we cut off, Timmy was on the Wraith there beforehand. Gonna be able to phase away, and Twerkaholics.
Yeah, Twerkaholics staring down, laying a trap outside that Evo Harvester down near Shipyard Arcade. We all know they're not the team you want to run into early. They're not going to give you a free pass. Twisted Minds also coming up against Shopify Rebellion here. This is closer to City Hall and where the zone might be heading. Not exactly there, but it looks like these teams, or at least one of them, was probably trying to rotate in towards that City Hall position, and now all of a sudden they've got a little stuck. And it's harder. It's harder without the altar to make these rotations. That's why so many teams have been picking up the Wraith here in Game 4.
Twerkaholics were babysitting that Evil Harvester, and NRG desperately wanted to try to get that, because being on the edge of the zone means if they still hold their position over by Viaduct, they prevent Twerkaholics from maybe trying to rotate from their side through that choke, getting information themselves, or trying to cut off NRG. So they're going to be wrapping around north side of Shipyard, looking at NRG on the edge of that zone. With already so many squads in that next zone themselves, Falcons getting involved here too. Hao losing out on his shield, half health. Gonna be able to safely back away thanks to Zero placing that Wraith portal.
They're staring down at SR now as well. SR just can't seem to get anything going here. They're really looking for a place to call home, and everywhere they look, the auction hammer's already come down and it's been sold to someone else. Twerkaholics only on 4 points. Remember, they opened it up with a squad wipe, but we've barely seen from them since then.
That's kind of been the habit, right, for Twerkaholics. We know that this is a frag-heavy team. We've seen them clutch out and put themselves in a great position to get a win beforehand, but can they keep it up in a match point format like this, where you need to get the dub after you get the initial 50 points in these games? Okay, Timmy, gonna be able to get a quick little 88 here. What it looked like before he rotates to get the Evil Harvester. Remember, we saw them on that pathing. They do have that blue Evo shield, but getting it even closer to try to get that to that purple.
Yeah, well, because they're landing next to each other at Shipyard Arcade and Viaduct, the zone is north, and that means they're essentially following the same path. They're identifying the same Evo Harvesters and wanting to go after them.
Okay, unintentional. Furia, though, back away. They'll get hit with their own nade. Keon incredibly low, though, before he takes the Wraith portal. Furia, who we're trying to push onto VK Gaming, who now have the high ground and the health advantage. Oh, but there's another team in the distance. You see the pings. Great timing, and they are one of the teams on the Valkyrie as well. So with a quick reposition opportunity, they get right back to the building that they were holding.
Kind of crazy the Catalyst is still in at this point. I mean, it's been such an early Legend band. Just imagine what this would be like without Altar and without Catalyst. Who knows? Actually, no, we won't see it next game because I think it's Crypto and Wraith that are tied with the most picks, so it will be one of those banned out. But if you think about how teams generally move around this City Hall in the other end zones that we've seen so far in this tournament, Vicky, it's primarily been by Altar queues. They use those to just find a little nook or cranny inside the buildings, and without that, you have to cross big open distances like this, and all the teams inside will be grabbing those scouts out and just shooting you down on the way. It's going to be, for late rotating teams, this is going to be particularly tough.
That's why it's incredible with Alternate being available here and being banned rather early. That comfort pick for a lot of these teams where they can excel on E-District, where it's honestly her best map. Can't really come to shine. Twerkaholics looked at energy right across from him, by the way. Floating took a good amount of damage, but being on the Mirage, he goes invisible to reposition. By doing this, he also gets information. Yanya gets taken out, and Twerkaholics, who have been chasing down NRG, they send them back to the lobby first. Rival Esports beats them right back, and Twerkaholics now gets a reset. No third party in the vicinity, And this was them wrapping all the way around. Remember, we saw them originally going through Viaduct. Now they're back here over by Street Market where they have a ring console.
Yeah, as we said, they were just following each other's footsteps, or rather Twerkaholics were following NRG's footsteps, and it seemed like that was boiling over for quite a while. Okay, GHS, they're sending in on Alliance right now. Okay, game 5, hello.
We got some more Apex. Alliance out in 18th. This is what you can expect, GHS. Keep the dream alive here for our match point finals. Furia looking on after being able to reset, count their blessings. They knew that there was a third party in the vicinity that prevented BKG from actually pushing them.
I feel like even the Alliance fans in the crowd were like, I mean, we want them to win, but just maybe not yet. You know, come on, give us a few more games while we're sitting here having a great time. Yeah, I'm getting thumbs up, lots of nods. They agree.
You know how I am, Gino. I ain't ever gonna complain. I will complain though, Solo Speed 20 shots missing out, but he was able to get that knock. Knock for knock, head for head as Cat now slide in. Beautiful shots with this Nemesis. Adams low, trying to cover his back for chasing him down. Lully now trying to find his blow. And Babo get eliminated. Cats have put on such a performance throughout the course of this tournament.
Even Babo, one of our teams who come in from the Challenger circuit here. Incredible effort to make it to our match point finals, but struggling to find their footing on the biggest stage that Apex has to offer.
Twisted Minds. One of the teams with the crypto, getting information. The squads that may be coming and rotating through the choke that they're currently looking at.
This is going to be a fascinating endgame, Vicky. We've got a few Bangalores in here, we've got a few Watsons, but we don't have Newcastle, and we don't have Alta. And it's going to be one of those canal finishes, and there's just no cover in there, right? It feels like if you don't have at least the Bangalore or the Watson, you are going to have the hardest time. You are literally just going to have to full send everyone you see, because there are going to be times where you just don't have a spot to play.
And here with Green Stego being one of the teams to rock the Valkyrie, they don't have the purple perk that the Valkyrie provides to get the scan through the buildings, right? So the Hail Mary do find some space after getting shot at by another team. 9 Lives now calling in the catwall. The nades hurtled in their direction. See if they can try to shoot blind, sending up the spikes to control some space. It's Falcons on the other side. Hal being on the fuse, trying to get aggressive while Zero takes a different off angle, but the Motherlode providing them the information to know where that team is, but playing rather safe. Look at them hold back just a bit. Another Motherlode being put on the other side. That's going to be Shopify actually helping them out.
Not too bad. Getting a little help from the old teammate Zanyu. Oh. Little action movie here, hiding behind the cars in the car park, taking your shots.
No explosions, right? No Michael Bay film here. 9 Lives get eliminated with some help from Shopify originally, sandwiching 9 Lives on each side with Falcons being the other bread in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of gentleman's agreement they had there to sort of not worry about each other and just take 9 Lives out, but I think both of them are pretty happy about that. Okay, let's get a little taste of where the next ring's going. Falcons up the top. They'd love a northern pull, and it's pretty close to them. I think there's a fence line just in front of the Falcons that they're going to be very happy to play. Also with Green Stego holding the big building that comes out of Resort, they'll have a lot of space to play with for quite some time. That said, remember, they're running the Valkyrie. That gives them a lot less defensive options. They have to play big. They need to make sure they've got enough ammo to keep people at bay because they don't have the abilities to do it.
Exactly. Pepper in the pressure with the fuse. Repositioning ability with the Valkyrie. Falcons are also in a pretty good position if they completely hold off Green Stego because they have a much more aggressive composition here. Over to the north side. Also making sure that other teams don't walk in for free from the east side of where that next zone pool is for the squads that may have that circle beacon information.
Risky Mythic being down the bottom as well. S8 and Furia are quite close to it, but, you know, without a mobile shield to hide behind and a lot of angles with other teams around you, that could be a tough one to pick up. Envy, they're a little more north of that position. Even VKG, we see LD getting knocked. That's way up towards Green Stego there. So they're actually trying to take some space away from that resort building that we were talking about. Meanwhile, Cat portaling. S8, they're playing the dish. I don't know about you. I always land there. That's where the Giga Loot is in City Hall.
You have to be a little nervous sometimes too, because if you go for a hot drop, you know there's so many different angles that people could take once you're forced to move away or try to get even more. But talking about getting more, floating, taking a lot of that damage here. Verholz gets that knock. Torkaholics now losing out on their Mirage.
And this is just something that'll happen to a team who hasn't had experience at this level. They leave it too late to try and make their rotation into the zone, and as a result, they're going to lose one of their members. Maybe there's a chance. There is a crafter ahead of them. Maybe they can get them back in. We've seen crazier things happen in this LAN.
Absolutely, but you can see the pings. They see GHS, and GHS see them too with the crypto drone. Where can you run? Twerkaholics getting cut off, nowhere to go as they get eliminated.
It's a good lesson. Like, if you're going to full send it before taking 50 zone damage on each team member, right? Make the decision earlier, even if it's an ugly decision.
Desperate times call for desperate measures for a team like Twerkaholics. The plethora of nades out in the distance, 100 Thieves with their ping. Seeing that drill from GHS. I believe one of the only teams running the Mad Maggie, by the way, here in this lobby.
Xtuvi's opening up a shop down here. He's, the shelves are empty. He's like, all right, better start stocking it with the bats.
I mean, when Twerkaholics comes in and serves you their death boxes and a silver platter, you'll take that, right? Now GHS, nicely looted, move up. See that ultimate accelerant also pop. Those Furia are looking down at them, hailing from above. Let's jump into a listening with Furia as they see what they have to do to hold back the squad from below.
Sure. I can't get the fence.
I'm with you.
Hey, he's right down here. You gotta peek left.
I cracked the Maggie.
Maggie.
I'm swinging this Mag.
Yeah, this dude's climbing.
Yeah, I'm killing Maggie.
Kill Maggie. You can play it on the shop. You can play it on the shop if you need.
It's only one guy.
You guys can push it.
I'll push him.
He's like in the hallway here.
I'm giving you vision. Unknown in a room.
He's gonna be one of the shops. Call me up. Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming. Wait.
He's not in here.
Okay.
I need to get the fin.
You need to make sure you're safe.
Other team. No. Just run. Play your life. You maybe get banner. I don't know.
I'm playing my life.
They're evacuating.
Batting.
They're evacuating. It's fine. It might be a solo. If you
Keep
do
on
hear
me.
one.
Got me. Wraith.
It should be a solo race.
With a desperate attempt to find that solo player, they get pushed on by another team. You can hear Furia with the comms, just trying to play their lives. They rejoin together now as a duo, but in the process, they lost out on Keon.
Ulariman does go down, so Furia secure the KP before this fourth run into the fourth ring. Having to go into the void just to try and make it over the line. The ring is chasing him down, and by the looks of it, so is 100 Thieves. Jen Burton grabs the knock and the kill onto Madness.
Teams are playing a little bit more desperate here. 10 squads left. EMP motherloads galore, 100 Thieves having the high ground, looking at S8 Alcancea also on the other side. Envy though directly in the middle of this zone.
Strafing Flame not able to live up to his name there, going down to the motherload, and we've got Pricey trying to hold this off, but I think the pressure from 100 Thieves is going to be way too much for them.
Maybe get the extinguisher or you'll find yourself envious out here.
Okay, Jen actually playing that very hesitantly.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the way that now Alcancea is forced to play off the low grounds, looking up on 100 Thieves who are just going to keep holding it down up here. They eventually will have to move up. S8 now with the raid portal have found themselves in the edge of that next zone pool, but these teams have to start moving in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's a solid spot from MB that we saw. Unlike when you've got Ultra in the mix, you don't have to worry about teams, portaling up from below. Green Stego, they're going to try and send Zach Mazer here. Can they find the space to res Dexter?
Look at the positioning right now, because Envy pushed up after getting up from the middle part of this next zone. Now Falcons have moved up. They utilize Zero's portal. The fact that he's on the raid has allowed them to now reposition and take up the space that Envy was once in.
Oh, okay. Strafing's gonna move in with the Eva. Easy shots onto S8, but 2 of them are down. Player K gets the armor swap, has to instantly go for the rest. Surely someone's noticed that there's enough damage down here. Nice work by Falcons and 100 Thieves combining to take out Envy on the top of this bridge. They're fighting for God spot right now.
ALGS get taken out, and they had a good amount of KP themselves. Now that Falcons have held the high ground, rather, looking at the fact that Furholes are neighboring them. 100 Thieves playing right behind them, but do they want to point on this?
But now it's Green Stego on the back. They try and make a sandwich out of Falcons, but they're not good enough to do it.
Falcons getting ahead of themselves, now playing up the slight low ground. Look back up at 100 Thieves. They have to pressure them here while Zero is going to reset. So does Hal. Zero's trying to hold her a different angle. Jen gets beamed. The 3-2-1 with some help as Hal gets a knock. Falcons get eliminated. They get looked at by another team in the distance. 3 spots left.
By the tiniest of angles, Hal can't keep it together while he gets the bat off. Shopify, they've waited and waited for the perfect time to pop in here. 100 Thieves, they're taking fire from the back. It's Empire, and now the Craver comes out. Can Empty hit the shots to win them the game?
With 100 Thieves eliminated, our last 2 squads, Empire, Shopify, Rebellion, and Empire have taken the heights. Playing off the positional advantage. This last zone closes in the next 20 seconds.
20 seconds left of the Tempest. It's going to run out from Empire, and they may not have this if Shopify wait it out. They do have a cat wall available.
That means they got to get aggressive here with the Rampage being on the sling. Coif already opens up as the entry fragger, getting that initial knock.
Shopify, they've got more firepower, but Empire have the high ground. Zainu dies going up the zip. That's 2 down for Empire, but the res is coming in for SR.
But they were trying to isolate him originally there too, right? We saw them put up the cat wall. Shopify not having the cat themselves. Coif manages to come up. The piercing spikes putting in the pressure. And Shopify together. They take the game here on E-District. This skyrockets them here too, to I believe the 39 points. We saw them playing that patiently there.
All the way up to second place, as you say, patiently. And as we noted, the Tempest was running out. It was a rough spot for Empire if they didn't finish them off there and then. I think the other thing we really need to note though, Vicky, is that high ground to low ground disparity was ridiculous there. I don't think Shopify should have been able to win it from that position. I mean, you saw he was standing. Was that a PK in the hands of Empire? Literally staring down a zip line, choked up PK. That should be 2 shots for 100 and see you later.
What's even more incredible is the fact that Shopify had navigated around Empire having the cat. Empire waited to the end to put up the catwall to try to isolate that fight, but not only that, they had the piercing spikes to create that space. Understanding that the Tempest was running out, as you say, Genome, they had to try to take full advantage of that, having that Rampage charged up, being on the ballistic.
19 points picked up for Shopify. Empire, look, they fall over at the last hurdle, but they can't be unhappy with 18 points added to their tally. 100 Thieves pick up 13, and Falcons have been consistent ever since they dropped down in that second round in the winners bracket. It's been go, go, go for the Falcons, and they keep themselves in the running for now.
Gotta keep it going now, as we get to see the head-to-head of our top 2 teams after game number 4. Not only getting first place, but putting on the KP. Empire doing it with the ballistic. 9 KP to their name.
3.2 damage coming, 3.2k damage coming out for Shopify there, but it was honestly a pretty even spread of kills. No one was super popping off there. It wasn't like the first game where we saw Alliance get, I think it was 6-5 and 5 kills between the team. This was a much harder zone to play towards the end. So this is what we want to see, the series results, to see how much these teams just bump themselves up. No one is still coming anywhere close to Alliance, who are the only team remaining on match point. But with SR on 39 and ALGS on 38, they are getting up there. If they have another one of those performances in match 5, we'll see them join Alliance on match point.
It's just the fact that after 4 games alone, aside from Alliance, separating themselves from the rest of the pack, it's how tight the rest of the competition looks like for our teams that are just a point or 2 away from one another. As we swap map after map, they gotta keep up that consistency. We got more match point finals coming to you guys soon. Game number 5 on E-District on the other side of this break.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Sony InZone, the official monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Play that first and we win the game. Okay, take space. Yeah. On the right. Drop. Good. Ready. Going. Good up. 2 on you. Crack. Let's crack. Going. Batting. All you guys. Let's one. Kill bust. Batting. Play slow now. Play slow. Heal. Batting. Going up. We need go up. I need bat. Resi. Going. He didn't rest. He did not rest. Okay. I'm resting. Can you drop? I'm out of here now. Coming. I'm resting. Nice. Last. Batting. Yeah, we need to go up. We have to go up. Alright, can you go together? Yeah, good. Yes. Coming. Hey, boy, good shit, bro.
Alienware's legendary Area 51 desktop is back as Intel's highest performing desktop yet. Equipped with an Intel Core Ultra processors, the Area 51 was designed for ultimate gaming and scalable with next-gen components. If portable power is what you want, the new age is born. The Alienware Area 51 16 and 18 gaming laptops are made with silicon components and can deliver up to 280 watts total performance power. Try out the Area 51 desktop here in the venue or scan the QR code for more info at the Alienware Arena. Welcome back, everybody, to Matchpoint Finals here in New Orleans. Onset and Gaskin back on the microphones to guide you through these next games. And Dan, it feels like Shopify Rebellion just woke up.
Yeah, it did indeed, and not really surprised when you look at the players that are on that roster. When we look at the quality on this main stage, Shopify Rebellion, of course, have 2 LAN victors on that squad, and now they start to march towards match point eligibility. But they're not quite there, and there is still only 1 squad on match point, and that is still Alliance.
Well, here's your legend bands as we head into the next match. No Ash, no Alta, no Crypto, and no Newcastle. Now we stay on E-District here as we begin our snake back through the map selection that we do have, and heading into game number 5, like you say, only the 1 team still on match point, but there's a couple of them now, like Shopify Rebellion, like GHS, who might be thinking with a win here, we could be joining them.
Certainly when you look at E-District and you look at Alliance, for example, they've only been able to find 1 victory all tournament long on this map. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do go that 1 step further. But at the same time, you think back to Champs in Japan, how close Alliance were to winning the whole darn thing on this map. All they need is one good zone, one easier rotation. It was a tough old journey for them in the previous game. They took a fight, sadly didn't come out on top, but now they still have the opportunity as the only team on match point.
One thing I do like about Alliance, never afraid to take that fight though, even if it's early on in the game, they believe in themselves, they will take it, and if they win it, we're talking maybe about a different end to that game. But the end of that game belonged to Shopify Rebellion. Now they find themselves just 11 points away from hitting match point.
Still plenty of opportunity for teams to catch up as well and get to match point eligibility as we're starting to see some early fights here. Babo versus Cat.
I mean, this one's taking place almost immediately. Humbert Labs versus Old Town, essentially. Two POIs that are very, very close to each other, as is indicated by the fact that both teams are next to each other, having this fight. Nobody is going to be knocked for now, and it looks like a momentary truce may have been drawn up, but as I say, it's about as momentarily disagreed as you can say, because Calamitous will get that knock with a scout.
And now you've got the advantage as well. And I wonder whether Babo are going to try and back off. No, it looks like they're going to try and take the fight, or at least one of them is. Evens things up here. And actually, you take a lead.
Igarashi is going to use that knockdown just to pop a couple of shield cells. All of a sudden, this one gets a little bit more awkward. Now, they pop the Tempest as well. Pinky's going to go for that res to get them back to a full complement of 3. And I think Igarashi's going to try and stop and deny that on the other side. He's going to get around this corner. He's going to find one, and that is Cat eliminated. Babo will win that one.
Yeah, Cat unable to put more points on the board then when it comes to E-District. Now, teams who will be looking to put points on the board, who have done all tournament long, Twerkaholics and Furia, averaging around 13 points and 11 points, respectively, between the two of them. Definitely capable of having those big games here to try and catch up the Giants of Alliance.
Well, if you're wondering about the Giants of Alliance, as you put it so beautifully, they're dropping over at Street Market, and when we look at the zone, doesn't seem like it's too far for them to go here. Looks like we're pulling up towards Neon Square. And for Alliance, who do have a ring console here as well at Street Market, that will feel a lot more comfortable.
Of course, Alliance, the first team to be match point eligible. And the last time we had a team that hit match point eligibility first and then went on to win the lobby was Reignite 3 years ago. Since then, that first team who hits it only has not gone on to win it. Can Alliance do what Reignite did back then, or will someone steal it away from them?
Well, the Twerkaholics on our screens now, who have been slowly but surely and consistently picking up some fans, as we can hear from the crowd here in NOLA. Looking to take a little bit of fight. Look at the top right of your screen, though. QAD just got a knock onto Alliance. Alliance look like they might be able to reset this because ALGS have left this fight. Unlucky is going to go back and try and get this banner through the portal.
Uh-oh.
But is he going to be ambushed here? Can he grab it and get back in? Just about.
He's in, he's out, he shakes it all about, and Alliance look like they are going to be able to be okay, reset here, and there's still a chance for them to win this one, but it of course slows down everything in their process. Speaking of slowing things down, one team that doesn't know how to slow things down and loves to shake it about, the Twerkaholics have taken down 2 members of Babo.
Pinky's out there though. He should be able to get far enough away here to at least survive, and thinking about his 2 teammates back into the game. He's heading towards Stadium, where there is going to be a crafter available for him to grab those banners. And speaking of rejoining the game, here comes Hackis. Alliance back up to 3.
It is of course worth remembering Alliance know how to win a LAN. Arguably not an ALGS LAN, but they have won international competition. And boy, would they love to add an ALGS trophy to that cabinet. But it feels like there's still a long way to go. Even though they are the only team there and available, you know how hard it is to convert these games.
We'll say Alliance also not someone who's unfamiliar with doing it the difficult way. Green Stego in our feeds right now. Great shots from the Eva. Asia, wow! Makes this fight a little bit more awkward for VP. VP will manage to make it a 2v1, but look how low Zach Mazer is. The shield shot swap should be enough for him to at least be a part of this fight. And Ziki says, you know what, no time for me to be here any much longer. I'm gonna hit the Valcol, try and escape. But here comes SR. VP still down to 2. MT can't quite connect, finally does, and VP will be eliminated. Shopify Rebellion with a beautiful third party.
Nothing quite gives me anxiety like hip firing a scout. Every single time I'm like, please just scope in or pull out something else. But eventually does connect, and Empty almost went down there, but looks like we'll be able to reset as we check in with Falcons.
Falcons, by the way, on 30 points. It hasn't been flashy from them so far. It hasn't been dominant, but they put themselves in a position here where a win and some KP would put them on match point as well. And for the run that they've been on and all they've had to overcome in the last few days, consistency is something that I think they would take at this point. Zero with that scout in his hands, and for my money, one of the best players with that scout in his hands. Can't find any targets for now. Now we move over to NRG, who have had a very quiet start to this set.
Yeah, they've really struggled as of thus far. The Green Stego get eliminated in the kill feed. NRG alive as a 2 right now, but now he's going to push and get aggressive, and GHS Boom will be eliminated. So NRG live to fight at least another few moments here, unless they get pushed, but it looks like they're going to be all right.
Should be able to get the reses. ALGS here again, who are just overextending, trying to see if they can pick up a couple of those KP, which they managed to do. Envy, who have had, remember, in the game number 1, looked very, very dead certain to potentially win that game. Didn't manage to convert. Game 2, a very good position as well. Weren't able to convert, and we'll have to see if that's going to be an ongoing theme for this trio, or if they're going to be able to find a little bit that's been missing in those endgames.
It's going to be very interesting here in the Southwest, because remember, Alliance are kind of in this area. They're just a little bit further south down towards Street Market, their drop location. And people want ring consoles. People want this third B console information here, because I think this is a harder zone to read than maybe some others.
Well, Alliance,
here they go.
Back up to 3. Only the 1 times here for Hackis, but it's enough for him to still hit a couple of shots with that 30-30 on the team who's trying to rotate in front of them. It's going to be Furia, who are close enough to them, the only team that are here at Street Market. Momentary bamboozle here, as the sling weapon will be out. Look at those shots coming in from Unlucky, though, with the R99 no less.
Yeah, both teams were looking to try and hit this ring console, and kind of winner of this battle should be able to get rewarded with extra information. Alliance do have the advantage with not getting knocked.
Yeah, they're going to scatter here. Fury, saw both Madness and Keon taking different directions to try and escape from this fight. But Keon, even though he's healing, is going to be chased down as well. Unlucky will grant himself another kill here. They should get this finish pretty comfortably. And that'll be another KP here for Alliance. But points at this point, so to speak, for Alliance, not the main target. It's all about getting that win.
Twerkaholics looking to pick up the pieces of the remainder of Babo, but is floating on his own. Has to go wild here, because there's still one more player he's got to take down, which he will not. Twerkaholics eliminated. Babo live to fight another day.
Just about. And Babo have been holding on. We've seen him in 3 fights so far in this game, and somehow they're still alive.
I mean, for the last place team, the team in 20th, to still be playing with that much confidence and still avoiding going down early, you have to give them major props.
Well, Chicken Beak is always open, and at the moment it's Envy who are occupying it. Down on that southwest zone, like you were saying, down the southwest side. And I agree with you, this is very interesting, this side of zone, because we are going to pull up a little bit further north from where NRG, Falcons, ALGS all find themselves at the moment, and of course Envy. There's 4 teams in this very, very tight space.
Well, with Alliance taking down Furia, they do get the ring console down at Street Market, so that'll give them a better idea of where they need to move to. Of course, there is a survey beacon down there as well, if they would like to use that just to get a little bit more information of how they want to rotate. But ALGS, Falcons, NRG, Envy, they all have to move, as Furia will get the respawn onto Noct and Keon, so they're still very much in this one as well.
Zone starting to close here, and it might be somewhat of a surprise to the likes of ALGS here on our screen when they see that zone pop up and where they will have to be going. When you're looking at the rotational legends now in the compositions, how do you get to this next zone? One thing that Falcons do have is 0 on the Wraith.
Ballistic, by the way, an 80% pick rate in this lobby, 16 ballistics. That means we won't see ballistic in match 6 if we get there. Of course, Alliance will be looking to try and wrap this one up and hoist that trophy. But it is a long journey for them. Not only do they have to kind of get through this choke towards where the zone's going to be going, but there's so many teams that are already in that square. Shopify Rebellion on top of Blossom as well. All the good positions to hold for this circle are kind of been taken already.
Well, here is the rotate. You can see Hackis trying to get a portal down, but he's going to be under pressure, so that portal doesn't look great for Alliance. They will be safe, of course, when this zone does close, but it's about that next zone. That's where things are really going to start to warm up. There's also a Mythic bin that's going to be spawning on this southern side, which may interest a few more teams.
Yeah, Empire are the closest to it, and actually Falcons when they start to move in as well.
Not just got one onto Alliance once again, by the way. It's Hackett who did go down, and now they're looking to move in. Well, well, well. Effect is down. Unlucky is trying to escape, but can he escape? That's the question. Alliance have been through it all in this game, but they're still alive somehow. And now, oh, look at this. It's Babo coming in for their fourth fight of the game.
Babo decide, you know what? We don't like being in last place. Let's start to take the fight to some of these teams. Pinky's taking a lot of damage, though. Gonna have to back off behind that truck. And Furia, their days might be numbered.
Ignorassi on our screens right now, charging up that rampage. The ultimate's going to be popped here by Keon just to try and survive, but the 30-30 gets drawn. The 30-30 won't be hitting. Finally, Furia will go down, and Babo survive again.
And NRG are closing in on Babo, and most importantly, Alliance did survive. Unlucky was able to get out of dodge, get into zone, and maybe, just maybe, get Alliance back on their feet. I think everyone was feeling maybe one more game was starting to be chanted here, but still a chance for Alliance. You mentioned it earlier. They do like to make it difficult for themselves.
It's stressful being an Alliance fan. Well, Falcons still on this bridge position, which is going to be a very, very powerful one to hold out any teams who are rotating in towards the zone. Piro Howe is going to be on the ballistic this time around. Rampage charged up, revved up in that sling.
So NRG finally closing in on Babo. I think they were a little bit hesitant, but they might turn around if they see this dropship, because Alliance have now respawned Hackis and Effect. They'll be back onto the map on the southern side. NRG don't turn. They're still very much eyes trained on Babo. And it looks like they don't give a damn about what's going to be happening behind them right now.
I mean, even though Alliance have managed to get the res, it's deep into zone.
Yeah.
And they've got quite a long way to go here to even get by zone. One good thing for them is they are landing on a crafter, so maybe they can craft an extra med kit, but still, it's a long way to go. Speaking of zone information, look at the amount of zone information the NRG have. I mentioned it was a long way to zone. Effect is down, Hackis is down, Unlucky's still alive again. But for how long can he survive? Can he get his two teammates back in this game for the third time, if I'm not mistaken?
Here comes Babo! And NRG! Unlucky just happened to use the ultimate to try and stay alive now.
He's just running around trying to bamboozle, but Alliance are eliminated! We'll keep this match point finals going.
And I think everyone in the lobby seeing that in the kill feed, seeing Alliance eliminated, will just take that moment to breathe and say, all right, we've got time now. We don't have to panic as much. ALGS currently on 41 points. They are closing in on match point, as are Shopify Rebellion.
Oh, closing in, but nowhere near at the moment, because Zyno has just been finished and down.
Closing in on each other. The two teams that are closest to match point having to fight one another, but looks like that banner is going to quickly be crafted, and Shopify Rebellion want to try and get right back into this one.
Still my favourite player cam to watch, always will be MT. It's just so intense the way that he plays the game.
Watches every monitor as well.
Exactly, it's insane to watch him taking all of that information. As an IGL, the more info, the better. Koiful trying to hold down this height, but takes a little bit of damage himself. So Zyno, even though they have the banner, they still have to res him here, and that's going to be the job of MT. They should get him back in, but look at ALGS. They're trying to hunt him down.
They will have to move ALGS, just transition a little bit further southeast, but they could pick up kills on Shopify Rebellion. But the real question is going to be, are you playing for the win? Are you playing just to pick up some extra points here via kills? Ahead of ALGS is Falcons, so this is going to be Falcons, ALGS, Shopify Rebellion on the west. That is one heck of a fight.
And Falcons the only team who have zone at the moment, so they're the ones who are going to be holding out. So Shopify back up to 3. In the kill feed, 100 Thieves starting to get a little bit busy as well, starting to get active as 9 Lives Vayne, who will go down.
Falcons currently surround Rebellion, by the way.
Bocheck here for Waltzy as well.
They have the bridge and they have eyes on Rebellion, but they're also well aware that ALGS are arriving at the same time. It's going to be messy if you try and force a fight too much. But I think luckily for Falcons, Shopify Rebellion did not want to take it to them.
Almost got that knock. ALGS. Everyone's turned up for the same shift. Shopify Rebellion about to be surprised though, Zainu. But it's now going to be the swing. It's big damage coming in from Pricey will go down. Strafing Flame will find too. But Player K now is the last alive. The zone starts to close, and who's peeking through that window? It's Falcons trying to clean this up.
Falcons have timed this perfectly and should be able to be rewarded with multiple KP. There's Shopify Rebellion. There's Alcazia maybe, but now Empire also getting involved.
Well, look at Zero. Zero's holding everyone off at the moment. Shopify Rebellion have been eliminated. Falcons go through the port, but it's an ugly looking ending to that portal. Have to retreat here. Alcazia have been eliminated. How seems to have done enough to hold off Empire. Wolsey down on that low ground, looking to get Zero back on his feet, and has managed to do so. Somehow Falcons, you know, surrounded by multiple teams, are not only alive, but all three are on their feet, and they look to be thriving.
Impressive cover there from Imperial Hell, just making sure that Wolsey wasn't going to get sent on. He just had to deal damage and force Empire away. There is still one Empire member lurking around, though. They are certainly trying to push up onto Falcons.
Yeah, Empire just sending one out to try and clean up a little bit of that damage. The other two players are just to the north of him, so it seems like a scouting mission almost for Empire to try and hold out Falcons, but Falcons have to make their rotation now. The Zero supporter will go down. Let's jump into the comms of Falcons and see how they're going to rotate.
I'm tilting. I'm tilting. I'm taking it right away. You can take. Hold says. I took it. Denating. Don't worry. It's bad. There is something. The nading. Yeah. Nading. Cracked. Good damage on him. Really good damage. Gonna get Gen. Really good. Really good. I can defense this. Oh, that's fucking stuff, by the way. I'm gonna fence it. Yeah, I'm gonna fence it. I'm back. Work it. Dog shit. I'm looking around. Wait, what the fuck? Don't peek that doorway. Anyone not that one. Wait, fast. What? I have 5 bats. I have 5 bats. I have 5 bats. Real quick, guys. Yeah. I'm ready. Swing. There's just top floor. There's top floor. I'm carrying bottom. Look out. I'm with you, Zero. People above. Okay. Are we good? On that door. Portal. He pulled a pass. He's going. What the fuck? I think I'm gonna ult cell. Can't start drinking. On the outside left. They're tickling. Ult cell. Oh, no. Come back in. You fuck. What about? No one dead. Be careful of the staircase. Be careful of the staircase. Yeah. I'm chilling. I'm coming first. I'm nading it. I'm still healing. It's one guy. Nice. I got my kill. He phased away. Just chilling. Nice. Good shit. Right side. Oh, there's 60, like 70. Well,
Falcons managed to stop the team rotating in towards them, but they still have to be so aware of the team that's above them. Falcons fighting their way through towards zone here.
And of course, with Alcazia and Rebellion being eliminated, Falcons are next up in closing in on match point. 36 in the moment. Babo get eliminated. That's more placement points for the Falcons. And VK Gaming look like they might be heading out soon too.
Yeah, Falcons are looking really, really good at the moment. It seems like the baiting and switching, the swinging is all very, very good. And if you needed an example of how Falcons are fighting right now, you can see it. It's 9 Lions who are going to pay the price.
So much confidence flowing through the veins of Falcons. Very different to what we saw in Winners Bracket Round 2 just a couple of days ago as 9 Lies get eliminated. That's, again, more placement points. VK Gaming go down. NRG, 21 points, 12th place at the moment, but they are still alive on the southern side.
Yeah, NRG have been hit pretty early on. They got to zone with some good prio. SAUL, they're next to them at the moment. Twisted Minds down on the low ground, NRG on the high. Envy also very, very close to them. Twisted Minds have managed to pull away from a lot of this traffic that's gone down below SAUL. But how do you escape from this position?
7 squads, final circle. This is why I love E-District. Falcons are going to be on the northwest, and actually they're going to be watching over towards Envy, but 100 Thieves on the east are at least going to have a say in this one, especially with Sheila coming into play.
Empire still have one alive, by the way. Verholst is going to get the pick onto Legacy, and that could be really, really big because they were needing to rely on that ranked portal. Twisted Minds have been eliminated in the meantime. 100 Thieves trying to hold off and take this space away from SAUL. They're gone as well. 100 Thieves with the Sheila will dispose of SAUL.
A win here would put Falcons onto match point, by the way. 2 down on energy. Sykes have just been destroying him with the grenade.
Look at Yanya. He's still alive, though, and he can have a problem. But no! The interception pylon is going to be good enough to stop that. Motherload having a huge impact on how this endgame can go. Empire eliminated. The solo is now gone. NRG fall next. It's 100 Thieves. It's Falcons. Falcons, and it's Envy.
Falcons are back up to 3 though. They get the raise. It's now Falcons' chance.
100 teams have been eliminated. It's going to be Envy as the last team alive on the low ground as Falcons hit match point. Falcons are your champions, and Falcons have a chance to win it all next game.
Falcons said to Alliance, well, if you're not going to take it, we're going to join you. It's been a heck of a road, a long old journey for Falcons from elimination bracket round 2 all the way to match point finals, but now they are the second team to reach match point and will have a chance to win this tournament in the next game.
So 2 teams now on match point. Alliance, the EMEA powerhouse. The super team. Falcons now join them with an 11-kill win as Zero throws up the wings.
And of course, that means we move away from E-District and we move to World's Edge, a map that Team Falcons have 3 victories on already, the most victories any team has on this map at this tournament. Is it all starting to just lay out in front of the Falcons here?
Match 5 results are in. Ballistic, like you say, will be removed from the legend pool for this next game. It's an 11-kill win for Falcons that puts them on match point. In behind them again, another good performance from Envy, with a second place finish with a 4 KP alongside that. 100T, 12 points on the board as well. NRG with 13, and I'm sure when we see these overall leaderboards, Dan, outside of that top 2, it is getting very, very close to multiple teams now jumping past 50 and crossing the match point threshold.
Yeah, there's going to be a few teams that will be joining Alliance and Falcons if they are not careful, if they don't get it converted in 6. But just a look at that match for Falcons, that is one heck of a way to jump onto match point. Again, Imperial Hal, the damage dealer. You take yourself back to Bridge when they were being pushed by Empire. When Waltzy, with his back to the wall, Hal made sure he laid down as much suppressing fire as possible and were able to force Empire away and allow them to rotate into the zone to get into that spot to win the game. Alliance on 58, Falcons on 53. Confirmation of our 2 match point eligible teams.
But look just beyond that. ALGS 44 points, just 6 away. Shopify Rebellion just 8 away. 100 Thieves just 9 away. We could have multiple teams going on to match point if Alliance or Falcons do not get it done in this next game. This is where match point really gets me going. This is where the excitement really starts to arrive.
I mean, when you talk about consistency in Apex Legends, you think about the names that have been able to win LANs. The fact we have Alliance and Falcons both with a chance to win it in 6 could be done here.
Could be done here, but will it be done here? We're going to have to find out in a few moments' time as Falcons hit match point. We've got multiple teams still chasing them down, but it's Falcons who have given themselves a chance. Will it be Alliance? Will it be Falcons? Or will we have one more match?
Being called a prodigy isn't easy. The pressure, the expectations. Nah, I'm just kidding. I was born for this. And yeah. I've got endless determination, a lifetime of practice, and a total lack of media training. Success, it don't come overnight. Just watch me put up a fight. Locked in, I'm feeling cold as ice. Let's move. I don't know how to slow down. Found my target. Time to say ciao. Doing work on a holdout. It's looking like it's a blowout. More eyes on you means less on me. Putting in audio on top. Making my way up to the top. Sing it out. The first in line, the next in line. I can't deny I'm in the games, I'm on your screens, and now I'm on billboards. Oh, check this out. Que figata. It's looking like it's a blowout. Putting in audio on top. Making my way up to the top. Coming in hot. The first in line, the next in line. I can't deny. Later, champ. Here I go. Do it again. Surprise. Woohoo! I didn't know I'd end up here, but I do know how it ends. Yeah! I've heard losing builds character. Let me know how that goes.
Been waiting my whole life for this. Yeah. Been getting so right for this. Hey. Been waiting my whole life.
Hey ragazzi, we did it.
Pay attention.
Red Bull is the official energy partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
One down, Red Bull. Red Bull, alright?
Yeah.
And then he corner. To solar red.
Bang one. That died in
Solar red underneath.
Right.
Medium.
One. Literally one shot. Literally one shot.
Good.
Here.
I'm killing him. Get it.
Go.
Watch it.
Go.
Like this.
I'm missing.
What about?
What the fuck? It's in the wall. This is really bad. I got you. We're good.
I'm looking for
I'm
kills.
taking this down. I'm taking this down. On the wall. Red pot. Cracked. One. Ballistic. Nice. Top two.
I'm jumping.
One. Watch out. What's in? Nice.
Hurry.
I got swamped.
Let's go. Let's fucking go, baby.
Secret Lab knows the body was built to move, and their Titan Evo chair has evolved to meet that need, while the 4-way L-Adapt lumbar support system cushions your spine on a Y-shaped lattice of living hinges. The 165 degrees of recline and Class 4 hydraulics will keep you steady and ready while backing your every move. Welcome back, everyone, to the ALGS Open, where Team Falcons have just taken game number 5 and moved themselves on to match point.
So will we have a winner in our match number 6? Two teams now have that opportunity. One of them, Falcons, like you just mentioned, Dan, have crossed that threshold. Alliance, who got there even earlier, still have that chance. But we have to also highlight that chasing pack. So many teams now, with one pretty good game, have an opportunity to join those two and maybe send us, just maybe, for one more game.
But it does send us to World's Edge now. We move away from E-District after the back-to-back. And that's the lay of the land. And that's also the legend bans. We're starting to get through them here. Now, of course, throughout the entirety of this tournament, we would always be ending in match 6. We would only ever see 5 legend banned. But if we go further than 6, we start to see those extra legends banned away from competition. We've lost Newcastle, Alta, Ash, Crypto, and now Ballistic. So this is where you have to dig deep into your legend pool. Who is versatile? Who can just quickly change to something else for your team?
It's interesting, isn't it? We're getting maybe towards the unknown. You know, what teams have been preparing for 8, 9, 10, 11. You would imagine a lot of teams on the main stage would have thought about what compositions will still work for them, but they're not as practiced. They're quite simply not as practiced with those compositions, which adds another element of unpredictability to today's match point finals. These are your legend bans. If you are just joining us, it's going to be Ash gone, Ballistic gone, Alta gone, Newcastle and Crypto not available as we move into match number 6.
Now, if we were to see any class get reset, I think it would be Assault, but I'm not going to get too much into that because there's a long way to go just yet. It is worth noting, Alliance have already won a World's Edge match so far in these finals, of course, back in match 3. And it is also worth noting, Falcons are the most winningest team on this map throughout this tournament with 3 victories so far.
And World's Edge, the battleground that we've been playing for the longest in the Apex Legends Global Series. A lot of talk coming into this event. The first time that we see Broken Moon, first time that we saw E-District was back in Japan, our previous event. But World's Edge is where we return to now, with 2 teams who have pretty much been around for the majority of the time, especially the players who make up those teams. And they certainly will have the repetitions to know how to navigate their way potentially not just into a game-winning position, but a championship-winning position as well.
Well, if you are not one of those 2 teams, if you are not Falcons or Alliance, the easiest way to keep this going to 7 is by winning 6. Something similar to what we saw happen at the ALGS Championships when Na'Vi won the prior game, were able to keep things going, and of course they ended up going on to win the entire ALGS Championship, but they did not qualify for this match point final. That is how brutal the ALGS Open has been. We have seen some giants eliminated to this point, but now it's all about match 6, World's Edge, and we're into Legend Select.
Well, let's take a look at some of these compositions. We are seeing a little bit of Mad Maggie popping up on our screens. A lot of Mirage, which is very, very interesting. Who would have thought that we would have a potential Mirage ban after game number 6? Just looking across, it's very possible.
I think it's going to be Bangalore as the prioritized Legend though, but a lot of Mirage, and for good reason, because he is just a little bit naughty.
Well, here we go into match number 6. The players on your screen are ready. Is this the final game? Is this where either Alliance send the ALGS Open Championship back to EMEA, or will Falcons steal it away? Or will we, of course, be screaming one more game?
Will Falcons finally get that LAN victory that has eluded them for so long? Well, we're going to have to wait a second before we get there, as we've got a quick pause just getting into this one, just to add to the extra nerves for not just the players, but of course the fans watching on.
And me. I always get nervous. I'm not going to lie when we see the pause come up, but it does give us an opportunity just to take a little look at the wonderful people who have joined us here in New Orleans. Sellout today, by the way. Every single seat is taken, and we give a huge shout out to everybody who's made their way down to New Orleans to be part of the crowd. You are one of the biggest reasons as to why these events are so special. And it started, you know, as I say, when we arrived today outside, the queue was going around the building. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause, New Orleans, wherever you've come in from. You deserve it.
There is something special about an ALGS crowd. I mean, I've been able to be blessed to work multiple esports, but ALGS crowds are always different gravy. Well, I think any problem that was there has now been resolved, and I've got some good news for you. We are going to be getting back into this game very shortly indeed. And World's Edge always does provide us with entertainment, and I can't wait to see how match 6
Let's get the hype going again then, everybody, as we head back into the game here on World's Edge. Match number 6. And when we get the opportunity to look at this zone, there's going to be a certain group of fans who might be smiling.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I mean, Alliance are going to be dropping on the very northwest, of course, up towards Trials. And they might have a zone heading their way. They do have access to ring console as Falcons. Maybe they're going to have to move a little bit further.
Falcons with a little bit further to go, as you say. That is where the zone's going to be. Now, ring consoles will give us so much information as to where we are going. And for Alliance fans, rejoice. That is a zone that you would love to see. Looks like it's going to pull towards the back of Trials.
Could pull that way, could pull towards cake building as well. It could be something similar to what we saw Shopify Rebellion win when they were previously SSG. But Falcons, they have a ring console at Survey Camp, so they'll be able to transition through that northern tunnel. And of course, Alliance also have it, so they'll be able to just set up wherever they may think this zone is going.
Well, early on, Nine Lives Esports, they're in a fight. And hey, surprise, surprise, who's taking an early fight? It's the Twerkaholics. But Twerkaholics not looking too good in this one, as McLovin will collect an easy 2 KP for their collection. Lunix decides, hey, I haven't really got a choice in this situation. I've got to try and get out from here, back to Thermal and try and get a res.
All careful here, Unlucky. We are going to see ALGS join Skyhook very fast indeed, as are other teams. Fury are moving, VK, GHS Boom are going to be there. Falcons are starting to transition as well. Everyone knows what kind of zone this is as soon as you get any indication from that ring console. As Nine Lives look to try and pick up the remainder. Ooh. That is a very well-hidden player.
Ooh, he does not get spotted. Nine Lives.
Let's check out that way.
You've missed an opportunity. Anyway, back towards the zone. One thing I do want to talk about is there is a ring console in Skyhook, but with so many teams arriving, I'm interested to know if Alliance did actually manage to hit it and where they're going to try and play, because where Falcons are playing right now, I was going to say, if you can play for that drill tower and the house at the back here, it's a zone we haven't seen in quite some time here on World's Edge. And if Alliance weren't able to hit that ring console, then this might be a game-winning position that Falcons have managed to steal away, based on the fact that Alliance weren't able to get there first with that info. So both of our teams who are on match point right now have got themselves into great spots.
Yeah, this could be the best chance, if ever, for Team Falcons, and they'll know it. But of course, with moving fast, you won't have necessarily the loot and armor you would like. There is definitely the chance that you could maybe pick up some extra Evo just purely through damage, as teams are going to be arriving towards you as well. but so many are moving. SAUL now joining everyone up towards Skyhook. Empire are making their way. NRG, Rivals, they're all going to be there soon. Still 20 teams left in this lobby, and I wouldn't be surprised when Ring 2, Ring 3 starts to close. As Hal was just on a scouting mission, there's going to be a lot of squads here.
Yeah, more than one way. Pull the G7 scout out there to try and just warn ALGS that they didn't really want to give that space up. But look at this composition, right? You've got Hal on the Wraith, you've got Waltzy on the Watson. We are throwing it back old school here when it comes to the ALGS. We're already missing a Pathfinder to really take us back to Season 1.
Speaking of throwing it back, how are the Twerkaholics doing? Looks like they are still alive down towards Tree, one of them, and maybe they can get back up to a 4-3. Twisted Minds, 10th position at the moment. What a Saturday they had to send themselves into match point finals, but they're a little bit off the pace at the moment. They need 24 points if they were to reach match point, but we just saw from Falcons, that can be done just in one game.
One game, like you say, one game can change everything. The fascinating thing about the zone that we do have right now, I think if we were to pick a zone that we wanted to see, a Skyhook zone is just so fun to watch because so many teams find the playable space. But I think this is pulling back towards the other side of Trials, and Babo at the moment, Babo at the moment, they have actually taken the drill tower position away from what we were talking about a little bit earlier, just that one right to the northern side of Trials itself. Falcons are still going to be very safe, but they're going to have to be very careful of poking and prodding around this situation because SAUL, they are just to the left of Waltzy as he stands right now in that cave area, the rock formations, and a lot of teams have gone deep to the north of this zone.
You have seen zones finish pretty much where Falcons currently reside as well, as the Twerkaholics have respawned floating in Cades, so the 20th place team, the most aggressive team in this lobby so far, will be back up to a full 3. As Envy are moving through towards Landslide at the moment. I think they were being chased, that's why they're just being a bit hesitant with their approach. Zap goes over it, Drop says, screw it, I'm just going to take it down.
Well, Cat were the team who are on the other side. Taxington looking about as relaxed as you could possibly get for a match point finals in his player camp.
I honestly thought the camera was broken for a second. I thought he was frozen.
That is not how I play video games.
That is a full-on lean as well.
Well, for now, it looks like the decision has been made to not try and push through this tunnel because Envy do have a couple of those fences down, which is going to just slow any progress. And with the time ticking away on round number 1, use the time effectively to formulate a secondary plan. Back towards NRG then. NRG are going to hit a redeploy and maybe try and play for the central building, the cake building here at Skyhook.
Yeah, it looks like they get this nice and clean. No contest for it as well. And if there was to be a zone shift this way, they could be in one of the prime positions, but the majority of the lobby has predicted it's going to be going northwest, but I think others are banking on a more random pull towards Skyhook because there's just not enough places to play in the northwest, of course.
VP have got a long way to go. In more than one way, not just for the distance that they have to travel, but also because of the fact that they are off the pace down in 18th position at the moment. Green Stego, again, 30 points on the board. Not too far off. A win would certainly take them towards match point, but that's what things look like at the moment. You can see what we're talking about, and it's not going to pull back to the Trials side. It is going to stay on the Skyhook side, so that makes things interesting. Look how now everybody is dispersed around the edge of where this zone is going.
I think there's some prime real estate that hasn't been taken there. The building just north of Furia. If someone can get inside that, you can really set yourself up for success. But Alliance, who are over towards Trials, they are just kind of peppering a few teams arriving late. Envy being one of them. And Effect just raining down hell from above, but looks like Envy will be able to avoid that one. Zap just about by the skin of his teeth.
That was the target that was called out by the whole lobby. Shoot the Bangalore, unfortunately, for the rest of the lobby.
There's a lot of them.
Unfortunately. Well, Envy, he is going to survive in that situation. Now they are inside of Skyhook. This is really interesting. I mean, that map overhead that we saw a few moments ago, right, it tells you everything you need to know. I think everyone's not quite sure where this is going to pull. Could he pull up towards ALGS, just under that bridge? 100 Thieves have got to make some choices on where they want to play, and they are approaching from a fairly busy side of the zone at the moment.
I mean, the whole zone just feels busy.
Everywhere's busy.
That's what happens when we get Skyhook. As we alluded to, still 20 squads left. No one's really been able to have those early engagements, even though there was a couple of teams looking for them. There are now only 3 squads outside of this first zone. Everyone else has actually got into Zone 3. It's not even like they're within Zone 2. They are all within Zone 3 right now.
Well, 9 Lives. They're probably trying to think about a way to get in towards Skyhook at the moment. We saw how difficult it was for Envy. Even when you slide down towards that beacon building, it can be a little bit of a pain with so many teams looking down, the likes of Alliance on the top of Trials, as we take a look at the Raven. Finally, we take ourselves away from Skyhook and look at some of these teams who are going to be here very late. And that's going to be Green Stego, who is one of those. Twerkaholics are moving towards the train tunnel. I was going to say just outside of Monument at the moment, but not really in a position where they're going to be any kind of trouble. You can also see the Green Stego just hitting a ping on the survey beacon, trying to see what might be free a little bit later as they try and dive their way in towards Skyhook.
Yeah, I think for the Twerkaholics, they're arriving so late, you have to play the Evo game.
Look at that spot. Yalari, man. Spider-Man.
Yeah, you might walk into your doom if you find yourself within the cake building. VP have been able to take that building I was speaking of earlier as well. I think this could really be prime real estate. It's a horrible building to hold at times just because you're very vulnerable to grenades, but if you can play Ring Around the Rosies, you might be all right.
Yeah, Market just a lot of space to try and command as well. Really have to be communicating effectively to make sure that nobody is flanking on to you. Just looking at the kill feed, Alkadzia just lost one. Pricey has gone down, but hasn't been finished off as yet. VKG, by the way, QQ is very, very close to Lou, and we might see QQ versus Lou, and we might see VK versus VP.
Creates a ball, just in case they wanted to get down and dirty with VP, but I don't think they will, considering the position they also find themselves in. A very advantageous spot for VK right now.
I wonder if he was looking for a kidnap in that situation, just by the way the defenses were set up on the other side of that portal. But Twerkaholics, who are still in this game, who are still alive, who are still ready to cause some problems in this lobby, finally do bump into Green Stego.
And it's a fight for the Mythic bin. Winner of this one will get quite a healthy reward. But Green Stego are far healthier when it comes to their armors.
They are indeed. Twerkaholics want to try and get this though, but Asia's going to slide forward. It's going to be Dexter with the second, and the Twerkaholics might have to think about what is next for them in this next game. Lunix has been spied out this time around. Can't run it away, and Twerkaholics will go down. They will not get the booty of the Mythic bin.
So what are the rewards for Green Stego? We'll find that out later, because that's where the zone is going to continue to pull a little bit further northwest. So again, Falcons are still going to be fine. Alkadzia, Bank Center, S8UL. I kind of like that position on the northern side as well.
Yeah, it's a really, really good position because look at the traffic. Look at where everyone is built up. They have that side. They have their backs clear. And it's one less place they have to worry about teams trying to wrap them from. Whereas if you're coming from the southern side, I mean, take your pick. How many teams can you see on your screen who are going to have to move from south to north? Well, one team who's trying to go towards the zone is going to be NRG. 100 Thieves are trying to third this. Guild is down. A man with Timmy on his back, but with the mother load going down and with a very, very good catwall, they will be able to reset here. 100 Thieves did not have the timing they needed there.
Yeah, 100 Thieves backed off because they didn't know if they were going up against a 2 or a 3. They saw healthy shields, they shot healthy shields and decided, look, we should be backing off. This is not worth it in the fight. So instead, they now have to just wait for this ring to close before they get information they're going to have to move. Cake building will not be it.
The one team who's been center zone for the majority of this game is Alkadzia. Under that bridge, you saw it from the point of view of Imperial Hal a little bit earlier on when he had that Wraith portal down and that position that was taken away. But they will be assaulted from multiple angles towards this endgame. But this is a tough endgame. It's essentially all open ground. It's just rock formations and natural undulations of the ground that are going to allow you to survive here.
Hack is being a nuisance with the charge rifle, but it's also going to be a nuisance for Alliance to get into this next zone. They don't know about it yet, but they're about to find out in a couple of seconds, whilst 9 Liars are also going to take the fight here against Envy. Oh no, it's Cat, excuse me.
9 Liars will be able to get at least 2. One player has escaped from Cat. But he's still trapped inside of the building. There's not really too far you can go with so many teams that are stacked up. I think a lot of these teams down on the southern side are realizing this is a play for kill situation. Calamitous will finally go down and Cat will be eliminated. 9 Lives will win that one.
There are other teams here though. Green Stego now joining the party. They've just about got the res though, but of course you have to commit so much more without Newcastle in your comp.
I think Hackers was going for a cheeky kidnap there on a member of Shopify Rebellion, and we used to call this man the Kidnap King. NRG have just been eliminated in the meantime. 100 Thieves certainly involved in that one.
Yeah, Twisted.
Oh, let's end this.
And 100 Thieves, but now Alliance, they want to take the fight to Shopify Rebellion here.
Alliance has ended this. Unlucky gets the first one onto Koiful. They get the finish as well. What a ballsy play coming in from Alliance. Just a drop down onto Shopify Rebellion. Zainu tries to escape, gets the ball down. But are they going to be able to reset here? I mean, where does Shopify go in this situation? Nowhere. They've been eliminated. Alliance, they bully them out.
Well, Alliance knew they had to make a play. They are no stranger to match point. They're no stranger to, at times, knowing you have to be aggressive in that moment, especially when you have to make a move towards zone, because the zone is going to continue to pull towards the worst team it could possibly be for Alliance. It's going to be Falcons on that northwest, where they moved right at the very start of this game. Are the stars beginning to align for that God squad that formed?
A brilliant zone read coming in from Falcons to play for that house, to get there early, and it's the difference again of a ring console, right? Think of Alliance, they dropped here at SkyWest, but they didn't have access to the ring console because so many teams were able to get there first. Envy kind of having their hands forced here. Sykes gets ripped out the skies. He's only about 15, 20 HP, but could Envy be about to make the play on towards Falcons? There is a little spot that they can land on, just the left-hand side on that rock formation, but Alliance have got to still work their way towards zone here. But they've got to clear their backs first. McLovin is still there. They're going to spot him out, you would imagine, but there's so many clones down that it's difficult to spot who's real and who's not.
Well, Alliance just have to fight back-to-back in a little circle as 100 Thieves go down. Green Stego eliminated as well. And all these teams are trying to force their way in, and you can just see...
Look at the feed!
Oh my God!
Look at the feed of Falcons now! They've left the building, they're trying to clear out this side of the map. They want to take down AUL as the rest of the traffic arrives. So many teams just disappeared, were absolutely decimated as they tried to leave Skyhook. But two teams that are still alive, the two match point teams, VP the next to fall.
We have just had one more team just went on to match point, Alcadzia.
Effect trying to hold off the entirety of Furia here. Alliance are down, and now it's in the hands of Team Falcons. Envy eliminated. SAUL, they're gone down as well. We're down to 5.
Team Falcons against 4 other squads here to finally maybe have that moment of lifting a trophy as this squad that formed, that was meant to lift trophies, that was designed to lift trophies. But at the moment, every single chance they've had, they have not quite been able to get over that finish line. Could this be that moment?
The play to move from that building towards the north from Falcons, clear AUL, and then look forward onto the rest of the lobby is brilliant.
And as I did mention, Alcadzia are now on match point, but they of course have to stop Falcons winning if they want a chance.
PK for Hal. PK for Hal. Waltz has got some temporary red shields as well as the zone starts to close from that shield swap, but he's back down to blue now. Although, of course, with Watson's abilities, it's essentially a purple with the extra shields that you do get. God, this is nervy.
You can actually see the nerves, especially on Waltzy's face. Remember, he hasn't lifted that trophy yet.
Well, Falcons trying to make a play for this endgame, trying to close out a championship. Let's jump into the comms of Team Falcons.
I think we fucked. This team, the team building is like done triple pump. They're fused, by the way. Simple. I saw them on rock. Crack them. Quick angle. Should put your next gen underneath. Yeah. They're funny, right? I can ult excel for it. I have 2. They're funny, right? Kind of. No, they're picking balcony. They're not. That's a Maggie ball on me. I got stunned. I got a swap. I'm getting a gen and I'm gonna ult excel, okay? Okay, swap. I gen in that corner. I'm ult excelling. They body us? No. They're just sitting there. The gen's not deep enough. I have another ult. I just ult excel. They're fighting right side. They're hard to fighting right side. I don't know themselves. 27. We can't cross anything there. They're just sitting there. Wait, one guy just jumped off. The third in. I'm selling.
Falcons now have to make their move, but elsewhere it seems like the lobby is taking care of each other. Twisted Minds have taken out Babo, but they've stayed healthy enough as we are down to 3. Falcons the only team here who can win it.
ALGS are taking a look at Falcons and Strafing Flame will back Zero back into that portal, send them back to their hidey hole of north, but now he goes down!
Twisted Minds! They're getting involved! Strafing Flame is on his back, but can they get the res? Imperial How's gonna get through that portal. He avoids the fence as well. A risky play here. How has to go back through the portal with just about managed to.
He's trying to encourage the fight. He wants Twisted Minds to force it onto ALGS, so then it'll be a simple third party for them. Is this genius from Imperial How and Falcons? It doesn't look like Twisted Minds are taking the bait. Twisted Minds are sitting south. If they've been paying attention to the kill feed, they will know full well Falcons are still alive here.
Falcons walking is very, very difficult. Twisted Minds have the height of that building, remember, to the right-hand side of the POV we see from Waltzy. So walking out from this bridge is going to be so tough. The smokes from Zero and how they are placed could be influential as to if Falcons could win this game.
Worth noting, Twisted Minds have Cap, ALGS, they've moved towards them. They're fighting each other.
Oh
this
my
could
God.
open up!
The door is opened! Enemies trying to hold off the push here from Falcons. Players down on either side, Falcons up on the high ground. Is this the moment that this squad was put together for? Zero, no bangle. Downs on either side, Falcons just making sure they're patient. Making sure they don't make any mistakes. ALGS down! Falcons rising! Falcons champions! From the most insane elimination bracket run! 18 games through the elimination bracket, Falcons make it work and will be crowned your ALGS Open champions.
The crowd begin to cheer for the Falcons as finally they have soared to ascendancy here in New Orleans and they have that magic moment that they were built for. And as Onset said, it was a grueling task. And quite rightly, Waltzy gets the chance as he will get to lift his first ever ALGS trophy.
This is what the team was put together for. This was what they knew that they could do. And if you watch the streams, you see the clips, you know it has never been an easy role. There's been clashes of personality, there's been clashes of ideas, but if you know anything about Apex Legends and you know anything about being competitive, it's to bring the best out of each other. And Zero, Hal, and Waltzy have done exactly that.
For a while in Apex Legends, we were talking about who's going to win, Zero or Hal. Today, it's Zero and Hal, and of course, Waltzy alongside them. Of course, a huge congratulations to everyone else who competed in these finals. And a commiseration perhaps to Alliance, who came so close in that second place. We'll go through all of the results later, but that trophy, it's for Falcons.
What a performance. I mean, I think if you were to go back to day one, when Falcons go down to the elimination bracket, there's a lot of people going, there's no way this team makes it through the event. There's no way. Like, this is not Falcons. This is not what they're put together for. This is not what we expected to see. But that is what they knew they could do. That elimination bracket run is the grueler of all gruelers. How many games did they have to play back-to-back to get into the position to just be a part of this lobby? And then in that elimination finals, I think the biggest thing for them was coming away with a good enough POI draft that they were able to still get good POIs in this final and really have an influence on if they can lift that trophy.
I also think the fact that in that POI draft we had 4 maps involved as well, it meant they had a far better chance of getting a POI that they could work with, and they made it work with on several maps.
Well, let's take a look at that winning moment from the POV of Falcons. I mean, it just seemed like everything was working out perfectly for them. A couple of risky moments just before this with ALGS, but then when you saw Twisted Minds and ALGS just essentially clearing the way, clearing the road to the trophy, it's oh so simple to clean up for Falcons.
And you can see Falcons wanted to initiate that. They wanted to try and start that fight time and time again when Hao was forcing himself through the portal, taking a couple of shots, then going back, as these are the final results for the ALGS Open here in New Orleans.
Falcons are your champions with the most points in the lobby as well. Alliance just in behind them. And it will be ALGS who will be equal on points, but taking home that third place spot. 100 Thieves just in behind them. Shopify Rebellion in 5th place overall. And then you can take your time and look through and see where your favorite teams ended up. But it is Falcons, of course, who will take the spoils here and will be crowned your ALGS Open champions. What an event.
What a moment. I mean, I think that when this roster was first formed, there was the consideration of, are they going to win everything? Is it going to be just too easy for them because they're a God squad? And then we see multiple teams go on to beat them, and then you ask the question, will they even survive as a team? You heard the arguments, we saw the arguments, a butt of heads between Zero and Hao, but when it all comes together like that, and they're going to get their trophy moment, you can't really argue against it.
Yeah, I mean, I always say this, like, you don't know ball if you don't know what that is about. It's about bringing the best out of each other. It's about trying to fire each other up, and even though it can seem sometimes like it's toxic, it's a relationship that brings out the best in each other. It's a relationship that brings championships to Falcons, and that's what this team is designed to do. We're going to send it to the stage now because I think it's time for Falcons to claim a trophy.
From what began with over 400 players has been extensively trimmed. Those team tree branches have been pruned, and now there is only one team standing. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge and emphatic round of applause for Team Falcons! Ladies and gentlemen, your ALGS New Orleans Open champions, Team Falcons! Congratulations to Team Falcons, of course, Hao, Waltzy, Droga, of course, the coach, and yes, Zero. Absolutely amazing performance from all of you. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. I want to give you guys the mic and have each of you individually talk me through your thoughts going through that final lobby. Here you go.
Honestly, like, the quality was just very different to every other finals before. Like, there's just a lot of inting. It's a bit of an interesting lobby as well, like some teams that have never made finals. But like our first game, really hard zone, like got some points out of it. Fifth game was really big for us as well. And then last game, like we just get zoned pretty free.
All right. How about you, sir? Here you go, you can take the mic.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna lie. I don't actually know what I just played. We played how many games in the last 3 days? No, in the last 3 days, 48. So I was about to just start getting ready to play my next block. I can't lie. I was so faded when we just won. But just wanted to say shout out to my two teammates, man. They're the fucking goats.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. Full credit to the boys. I can't believe they ran the gauntlet. Full 36 games in Elim bracket. And to be completely honest with you, as soon as we made it through the Elim bracket yesterday in first, I knew they had it today. So very proud of the boys for pulling through. Good shit.
For me, I don't know, going into the last game, I was playing race, so I feel like I had, a lot of control and pressure on me to make the right play. I haven't played Wraith in a while, but you know, since I was not really IG on the team, you know, I was pretty nervous of not making a mistake. But I don't know. I manifested that we were going to be the first team to ever win coming from losers bracket, and and we did it. So you know, I'm very proud of my teammates. You know, everyone knows that you know we've been going up and down with the vibes, but you know we're the best team in the world, and we just needed some time. So yeah.
Amazing stuff. Sentiments that I'm sure everyone here also agrees with. Now, it's time to bring in Lace to announce the MVP.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. Obviously, give it up for Team Falcons, but today we're going to award the most valuable player. He is the man that got the most knocks, damage, and kills out of anybody in this entire competition. Congratulations, Imperial Hal. You are the MVP. Now, Hal. Okay. Now, Hal, what do you think makes a big difference between a good player and a great player?
Passion. You know, this literally is passion. You know, how like dedicated are you to your craft? How obsessed are you? And I feel like I'm obsessed with Apex. So that's the difference.
I mean, look, you haven't given up yet, and you're doing an amazing job so far. Now, you guys kind of quickly wrapped it up very quickly with all the stats and all the craziness that you guys had to go through over the last 4 days. What do you want to say to your fans?
You know, I appreciate you guys for sticking out. I know there's a lot of haters out there, especially on Reddit. You know, we're still going to be here winning, you know, with or without you. So, you know, with the people that root for us, I appreciate you guys, even after leaving TSM. But I love you guys, you know, every single day.
Well, that's it. It's been your CEO, Imperial Hal, the MVP, and from the Falcons. Take it away, Ryan.
Well, that is an absolutely phenomenal performance from you guys. Brilliant, brilliant run. One final question. What does it mean to you, Zero, to win the most stacked, the largest LAN of all time in the Apex universe?
That was kind of free. Looking forward to EWC.
A man who keeps it very honest indeed. Wow, absolutely incredible stuff. That's going to be it here from the stage from myself, Lace, and of course the amazing Team Falcons. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, I want you to raise the roof of this place for your ALGS New Orleans Open champions, Team Falcons! All right, and that's it from the stage. I think it's time to head back to the desk to culminate this amazing Open here in New Orleans. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Ryan. It was Falcons Day. Just couldn't be said any differently. They ran the gauntlet in the elimination bracket, the hardest thing to do here at the Open, with the most teams, 36 grueling games to win it in 6 here. Kind of like they manifested not only winning from the elimination bracket, but not playing any more games. They were like, man, we got to get out of here early. We've been here all night. Come on, let me manifest dinner, I feel like Falcons said. But Lauren, it was great to see a lot of competition, but this story from Falcons, it really is a story that began years ago, or really about 11 months ago, when these guys decided to split from their teams and make this super team that hadn't been super up until now.
Yeah, and we were just kind of talking about that while we were watching them bask in that win that they feel like they've been hunting for this entire time, because we were saying that, you know, they kind of seemed like they were unimpressed with themselves. Even heard it in the interview. I mean, Zero said it was kind of free, but I think they view it that way because they felt like they should have been able to achieve this as the super team prior to this. Now it looks like they figured it all out, and they've started off year 5 with a win.
It's an interesting way to kind of put it. Maybe they felt that this should have happened a long time ago, and that energy that they wanted to display right when they formed was what they finally got to show to the world. We all have seen the in-betweens, though, so I was expecting a little bit more of a release, finally. But let's take a look at the moment that actually led to the victory. Jamerson, this zone they had handled from early on. It felt like they were in control, and they never let it go.
Honestly, coming from the lower bracket might have actually helped them out because they ended up getting a very low draft pick, right? 11th overall. And so they ended up with Survey Camp, which isn't a priority pick, but it gives you priority on this zone. They're able to early rotate in all the way to, towards Grandma's house on the northwest side. And then ultimately, at the crucial moment, they push out S8UL that were playing on the northern tracks there while coming in for the third party. And then you see Twisted Minds and ALGS fighting it out. The Maggie Ball gets used. They find their moment and they strike. And they knew, I could see on stage that they had this one in the bag. And you saw the reaction from Zero right after this one. It looked like just another day at the office for them.
Yeah, it looked like he was mad to get called in. He was like, I wasn't supposed to work today.
This could have been an email.
Someone's getting their shit. Yeah, this could have been an email. Dia, how did you feel looking at this one? It felt like a foregone conclusion almost from the beginning.
You know, actually coming into the end game, into the final circle, I didn't know if Falcons were going to be able to take it, but it was the catalyst wall from ALGS that really changed everything. These two teams, ALGS and Twisted Minds, who were in the final circle with Falcons, both had the chance to walk away with the victory.
Yeah.
But fighting each other, I mean, the LAN experience from Falcons gives them the edge to know that catalyst wall went up. I think we just won the game.
Yeah, and I think, too, watching, there's easy ways, if you're just a viewer, to maybe say, why? You know, Twisted Minds, you know, you guys were in the position to, if you guys just turn and fight on them, we have a chance. Your whole story continues. Is that experience, Dia, I'll ask you again, that might be coming into play, whether it's not recognizing that that's Falcons or fighting for something right in front of you when you're missing the bigger picture of keeping the tournament alive?
I think it really does come down to experience, and that's one of the great things about the Open, about the performances that we saw from ALGS, from Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds had a lot of predictions coming in today. ALGS have had a fantastic run so far, but when we get to the finals, it is the amount of experience that you have to have at the top level to be counting off teams. I was even hearing just earlier Zero talk about it was after the first or second game, not just who the winners were, but where they came from. Tracking all of that in his head throughout the course of this LAN is something that only very experienced IGLs can do when it really comes down to seeing as many details as possible and knowing what the outcomes of, say, a last fight might be.
Always nice to see some love from the families there hanging out and just celebrating a win. The thing that I do want to, you know, and this is coming from somebody who's been in competitive sports for a very long time, won a lot of things, not in esports, but in actual sports. You take it for granted sometimes when you're winning a lot that wins always happen. And I think if you look back and you see every moment the Falcons didn't win, if they could go and have this moment again in those moments that it didn't work out, I feel like they'd be grateful, right? And it does feel like maybe they've just hit this rhythm, but I also want to just give a word to that because I know the free and stuff like that is like, cherish this moment. You know, winning is hard. 145 teams, there's 144 other options that could have happened, and you guys made it work. So whether it felt easy or not, it's special that you got the job done, and that's obviously just you know, my thoughts coming in from it, as obviously Falcons are on top today. It's their night, it's their Open, and of course Sony has helped us put together some of those great moments as well as we go to our Sony in Vision kill leader board. Imperial Hal Jamerson, it really wasn't a question of him being the MVP. We had talked about it on our desk so often. His performance this weekend, truly phenomenal.
Yeah, 42 games played, 135 eliminations across them, averaging a little bit over 3 kills per game. He has been super aggressive with this squad. They've really found a way to give him that space, and I think Waltzy, a lot of times playing that anchor for him, does provide that extra bit of reassurance in the back, but I'm so glad that they were able to get it together here again. I mean, I came back, right? Split one last year as a guest on the desk, and so being on this journey with them over the last year has been incredible. We saw them start off Split 2 year 4 in an amazing way where they were dominating, and then we saw the kind of cracks in the armor there. Yeah. But it took some time, some reworking, and because of it, you know, because of the discord amongst the team, because of all the roster shifts, we've also been treated to so many other great, strong squads that were formed in the back of that.
I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of people really that have been rooting for the Falcons not to succeed for a long time. And, you know, this got to be cathartic for Falcons fans, for Falcons family members. I know Richard Zero's dad's probably proud at home. I don't think he made it into the stands here, but watching, Hal has his mom here, I know, and I think that's his dad down below, his girlfriend. Lauren, you know, this is maybe now the end of this idea of can the super team, can they win, right? We know they can win now. They've done it. This is the trophy. They've got their moment. What's next, though, in a bigger idea? I kind of want to keep your eye on that as we kind of look forward now with Falcons having done this at this point.
I mean, I think obviously everybody knew that they were a team prior and on an individual level that were all capable of winning. We wanted to see them come together as that trio and see what would happen when you bring the best players in the world, put them all in the same squad. Initially, it wasn't what we wanted or what they wanted, really. But now that they've gotten a win, I think the next step to proving that they are the best of the best is not only getting the win, but then being an even bigger dynasty than what we saw previously.
Yeah, they're really competing against themselves and their own history in Apex Legends. It's amazing to see. And, you know, there's been a lot of moments that we've loved here in this tournament. That's why we're going to close this one out with our Alien Aces segment here, our Alienware Aces. I keep saying Alien, so Alienware Aces, baby, because these are some of our top plays. Our first one here for today, it's the Alliance win to the race of match point. Sometimes you get there quickly, sometimes you get there slowly. Oh yeah, this is one of the quickest Alliance moments that we have seen of dominating a lobby early. It wouldn't be their story. They would get plenty, of course, of points, and they will be earning a lot of cash as well. For those who forget about it, there's still that prize of hundreds of thousands of dollars, even if you're second, all the way down to around 10th, and we're paying out up to 50th, so plenty of cash to be around. Our second one is Falcons getting the match point here by winning match 5, and this was huge. I mean, there's more passion in winning match 5 than winning their final match 6. They get up, they hug, they're excited, and this is where the world started to realize that, wow, this could be it, the beginning of the dynasty and the end of this conversation that Falcons maybe just don't have what it takes. Well, they certainly do. They prove it on the world stage. They prove it on the biggest stage that we have as well, and it makes it that much sweeter that they can say, after all of the turmoil, all the ups and downs, all the arguments that, of course, Reddit thought would break up the team, and even we did as casters, turn into them lifting that trophy as one. 3 coming together and making things happen here on the grand stage of Apex Legends at the Open. Doesn't get much better than that. These guys gonna have a fun night tonight as Imperial Hal asks Zero, what was that, man? We've been needing to do that for a long time, and they finally did. Alienware Aces, thank you so much for supporting us. We got a couple more members here on our panel, all the talent team joining us, guys. And as we like to do here to close out the show, I want to give some final thoughts to all of our analyst desk here. Lauren, I'll start with you. ALGS Open, biggest tournament in Apex Legends history so far. It's complete. What do you got to say?
I think that being able to see the full scope of our international and up-and-coming talent all at one LAN is probably one of the coolest things we've ever done. It was a total community vibe, unlike anything we've ever seen before, and I really hope that we continue to do this, keep raising up any new talent that's coming into the scene and seeing what everybody can bring to the table.
Jamerson?
Yeah, speaking of new talent, of course, you know, we talked about Twerkaholics all week long, but I do want to say it's great to see a CC team really be able to make it so far, make it into the top 20 of a lobby, and they still tried to play their own game. It wasn't successful, but they still did it, and I got to respect them for that. But I also want to give a shout out to Strafing Flame, to Alcatzia, because it's been a long time coming. A top 3 finish for that squad who have been competing together for so long, have consistently made it to LAN, have been able to make it to match point finals, and now they got a top 3 finish. And so we have to go ahead and give them their applause.
Dia.
Well, we've brought up all those stories like you're talking about, teams coming from Challenger Circuit. I kind of like you, Rain Day, am caught by the question, with Falcons having so much turmoil before this LAN, what does the future hold for them? How do you build a dynasty when you already are starting with teams, players that have individually created so much mystique around them and how they're able to win over and over? So while we're bringing up all this talent, well, Challenger Circuit players are, I'm sure, going to be picked up by a lot of Pro League teams that want to succeed. What's the top doing as well? How far can they push the bar of Apex Legends? And will we see a team like TSM, like Dark Zero, that seemed to have solved it for so long, finally rise up again?
You know, I kind of spitball these most of the time, but that kind of led me to where I want to start, which is how do you build a dynasty? A lot of times in our LANs, we ask that question with teams that have already had their foot in the door. in this land, we asked the question, how do you start one? A lot of teams, a lot of players had an opportunity here that they never would have gotten beforehand. And the beautiful thing about that is that we also gave an opportunity to fans, to people in the community to come and experience this land with us, for us. We have some photos of you guys around enjoying your time, but the little glimpses that you catch, whether it's Joe Brady showing a little bit of love, Dia and Graceful sharing their time on the mic, treating us with all of the fun vibes and information. Hal and Zero finally getting their big moment on the stage. And fans all around the world of all ages, of all kinds coming in to support. Moms, dads, sisters, grandmothers joining us. We have all types of people being brought together with Apex Legends to come here for the passion of what the game means. The game that Respawn created just 6 years ago that changed every single one of our lives. Even if your story didn't end in a trophy lift this time around, it might have ended in a spirit lift. It might have ended in a thought process of you saying, maybe I could be on that stage one day. And look at Twerkaholics finding their way to be watch party by some of the biggest YouTubers in the world, some of the biggest streamers in the world, from the ground up, starting their journey alongside Apex. The Open is about making you believe that there is more to what is happening in your life, and not just more, great things, challenges to overcome, and championships to hold. Whether you met them, the pros, whether you met your fans, whether you met some friends, we love that you have been here at the ALGS Open, and we cannot wait to see what happens next. From all of us here on the talent team, my family, my friends, my crew, we love you, we appreciate you. Big shout out to my family as well. Can't wait to get back to you guys. And of course, everyone at EA, our behind the scenes of esports engine, everyone who's worked on the game, our lovely partners, and everyone involved in making Apex Legends special. We appreciate you, and we hope you enjoyed the ALGS Open. What's next for Apex? Stay tuned. We will have all of that coming. But let me tell you one thing, it's gonna get better and better like it always does. My name's been Rain Day. As always, remember to never give up. Never stop gaming, and we will see you all next time.
Jump off. Let's go, baby. It's so easy, bro. It's so easy. Kill them. Come on. One more, boys. One more. He's in there. Come on, boys. Come on. Yes! Come on. Let's go, boys. Let's go.
Together.
He's just running around trying to bounce. It's eliminated! To three, then they get the raise. It's now Falcon's chance! Oh, the teams have been eliminated. It's going to be Envy from our team alive on the low ground as Falcons hit match point. Falcons are your champion! Trying to hold off the entirety of Fury here. Alliance are down! They're trading. I'm hitting it. I'm coming. On hard. Make any mistakes. Outcast are down! Falcons rising! Falcons champions!
Red Bull is the official energy partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.